Is that you, Claire?
Yeah.
Right, Claire. Right, just to let everyone know, it's Cody back again, dropping yet another video. We're joined on the line by Claire, who's a female offender, or should I say ex-female offender, from the northeast. How you doing, Claire? All right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right, so we came into contact yesterday, guys, right, where Claire reached out to me. We then spoke last night. She's arranged to give us some of her time on her prison experiences. She ended up in prison 3 times, 2 relatively short stretches, followed by a life sentence. So, Claire, when was you first arrested?
In 1998.
So how old was you then?
Oh, God, you're talking. 21 year old.
And what was that for on your first nicking, like your first arrest?
It was Section 20 for having a pub fight, basically.
What was the circumstances there? Just...
Oh, it's a bit of a long story, really. Girls out drinking in a pub. It was a lad that actually started on us all, and I ended up lashing out and hitting someone with the alcohol bottle I had in my hand.
So you was arrested for...
Section 18 initially.
Yeah.
It was a Section 18 initially. It got dropped. So yeah.
So Section 20. So on that incident, did you get? Was you was obviously charged? What sentence did you receive for that?
I got 3 months. I was on bail at first. Went to Crown Court and left with 3 months. It wasn't like a long sentence, obviously, but it was pretty terrifying at the time, to be honest.
But for someone that's like, for your first time going to prison though, like what was, obviously you was in the dock, did you plead guilty or was you found guilty?
No, I pleaded guilty.
You pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of the Section 20, which for those that don't know, Section 20 is grievous bodily harm. You've got Section 18 and you've got Section 20, you've got with intent, without intent, and extra. So how did you feel when you was first obviously sent down, like the emotions, where was your head at?
I was terrified. I was in tears. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I'd never been in trouble before, ever, in any way, shape or form. So I thought that was shitting pants, really.
So you were sent down, you've gone down into the cells, you're downstairs, and then transport turned up. How many was on the, because obviously you're a female, so was you on, because obviously the prison you were sent to was Low Newton, which is up in the northeast.
Yeah.
How many people were on the sweatbox? Was it men and women? Was it just women?
Yeah, it was. It was men and women. Men and women at the time. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but yeah, it was quite full. And I didn't know where I was or what was happening, to be honest with you. I just didn't have a clue.
Did you have a bag packed and stuff?
No, nah.
So you literally thought you was going home and you was in court?
I don't know if I thought I was going home, but I was that brand new. It didn't occur to us. I was wearing a skirt suit at the time. People thought I was in for walking the streets because I actually had a skirt on. Do you know what I was doing? I didn't have a clue. I was all suited up, looking nice. Just didn't look, totally naive, brand new. Didn't have a clue.
And that was it. So what was it? So when you got to the jail, right? Obviously, so you've been sentenced on this Section 20, you've pleaded guilty, you've not packed the bag, so you're not prepared. You're all over the place, your emotions are all over.
Yeah.
How would you like describe the process of being like going through whilst being processed at the prison? How would you explain that to like the listeners during a female prison? So you're obviously on the sweatbox, you're cuffed to an officer, you're brought off. What goes on in the reception area of the prison?
It was horrendous because at the time, obviously, you got stripped, but you got showered as well. You know, like when they sort of lay you down kind of thing. You got told to go in and have a shower, everything taken off you. Just completely in reception in the jail, didn't have a clue, did not have a clue what was going on.
Did you get your 2-minute phone call as well whilst you were there? Who did you ring?
Yes, my mum.
You rang your mum. Your mum was obviously going to be beside herself, bless her.
Yeah, she was.
So you got then, from being processed and stuff, like you say, you get strip search, you take everything off you. Did you obviously put you in prison clothing?
Yes.
What was the prison clothing like for women? I haven't got a clue. Is it like a tracksuit, what you get for
Yeah, and I'm wearing boots at the time, you see, so I'm wearing a grey tracksuit, but they don't give you footwear. So footwear-wise, I was wearing the boots that I wore with the suit that I went in.
So the heels and everything?
Yeah.
Like boots with like a wedge heel or like...
They were proper like knee-high boots with a heel.
Were you wearing that with a prison tracksuit on?
Yes.
Oh my God. So go on, So you've been put onto the induction wing, right, at Low
Yeah.
Newton Prison.
Yes.
So what was the induction like? Was you in a single cell? Was you doubled up?
In a single cell, because it was still like a violent offence, and your induction is basically, I mean, you get everything took off you, you can't take anything in, and they give you a little, like, shower pack thing with the shampoo in and everything like that, and that soap that scrapes all your skin away and everything. Well, that was it really, basically just stuff to get washed with and keep yourself clean. Then sent off, a little sandwich pack as well, and then sent off when you're on the wing. The induction was just a lot of videos about the regime and the suicide video that we get everyone to watch, just the standard stuff that everyone, I think they still do pretty much have it all now, you know, just introduce you to the prison, that's all.
Yeah, so what were the other girls like on the wing? How many was on the wing? What were the girls like with you on the wing?
On the main wings there, you've got a couple of doubles, like at the bottom of the wing. I think there's 4, and the rest of them are singles. So the most part of them, I think each landing holds about 20-25. You've mostly predominantly got the single wing. Or you went on I wing first, which was induction wing, because I remember it's a bit of a shock. You've got showers in your room there, and everything's perfect, and then you're thrown onto this landing where you've got absolutely nothing. Just a toilet and a bed.
Because the Low Newton Prison is right next to Franklin Prison, which is the Cat A up there for males, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see each one from the other.
So so on that stretch, did you learn? Obviously, because you're on a short sentence, you don't get any courses or anything like that thrown at you.
No.
Or did you?
No, nothing.
Is it true? Because obviously, as an ex-offender, we know a lot about male prisons and male prisoners and stuff. We don't really know that much about the female offenders and female prisons as a whole. Is it true they've actually got like beauty salons and hair salons and stuff within the prison?
Yeah, it's true.
So how do you pay for that though? Like, do you pay out from does it come out of your your spends?
It comes out your spends, yeah. Everything out your spends like that, unless it's necessities. The since stopped you having clothes, because you used to be able to buy your own clothes, and now you can't. You have to buy it within the establishment through little pop-up shops that they have. But your hair and everything like that, and I think up until the last time I was there, it's about $5 a pop, because they're all actually proper qualified hairdressers or beauticians. You can have acrylic nails, you can have waxing, everything.
So are these the people that are doing the hair and stuff? Are these offenders, or are these outside beauticians that come in and get paid and it's a job to them and they leave at the end of the day? Or is it the other prisoners?
It's all other prisoners on the course actually doing the same qualification as what you would do if you're going to college.
So you can go there, you can get your hair done, highlights, get waxed, pedicures, manicures, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. See, the thing is, in a bloke's prison, literally on the wing, sit on a plastic chair. One of the lads will have some clippers, and you'll give him a shower gel, and he'll give you whatever haircut you want, and then the next one comes and it just goes like that. So
we're not allowed clippers because we have to put a nap in. If you had long hair and you wanted to cut your hair short, you have to put a nap in because it's changing your appearance. So you don't look the same as you do in your ID photo. Do you not do that?
No, there's no rules in, honestly, and I've been in Strangeways, which is a Cat A prison. I've also been in Cat B, but no, we've never had that. Obviously, everything there, it's not done that way, but I understand the logic of it. Obviously, if you cut your hair short, by altering your appearance, it could become a security breach. Or
exactly.
Sort of so what was you, what was you able to buy on the canteen and stuff within the prison on that first stretch?
All your bathroom stuff, odd bits of makeup, and just food, like hot chocolate, extra bits of chocolate bars, coffee, everything that you need to get by with. Back then, when I first went in, you could only get out to go in the shower every 3 days, and you could only get shaved on a weekend. So you had to hope that your day for getting shaved landed on a weekend, which it usually did. It's progressed since then. You're still not, in some places you are allowed your own razor, but for the most part you have to hand a little identification key fob in, in exchange for the razor, and then hand it back to get your ID fob back. If you want to get shaved and stuff, there's quite a lot now so that you can cook, some of the girls bake cakes and stuff like that, and have little munch nights and things, and they try to encourage that. And now you can even get Avon. I don't know if the lads can, but you can order out the Avon catalogue.
No, we when it comes to catalogues, right, when you become enhanced, for those that don't know, like to the subscribers that don't know, enhanced is there's a behavioural scheme in prison called IEP, incentives and privileges, right? It's a behavioural thing. You've got basic, entry, standard, and enhanced. Enhanced just means that you've been good for 3 months. You've had no adjudication, which means you've not been in trouble, you've not had any positive drug tests, etc., etc. And we can buy them from, there's a clothing catalogue where you can buy like stereo, you can buy a guitar, you can buy clothes which are overpriced for what they are. But no, we don't have anything like that. We just, for toiletries and like stuff like that, we just order it off the canteen. Like, just off the shower gels, all these, like you said, stationery, sweets, chocolate, extra food. Some people, like I say, bought matchsticks and glue and was making all the like traveller gypsy wagons and stuff like that.
We could never get that. It was a bit of a mission. I think they can now. It was a mission for years to get any kind of art and craft stuff. They let you do cross stitch and that, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to get it all there. Do you know what I mean? A few of the girls went on one to try and get one. They like doing the cross stitch and sewing and bits like that, knitting, proper girl things.
So how did you, on that first stretch, right, obviously it was a shock to the system, you knew you were only there for a few months. What was your first visit like with your family? Was it your mum on the first visit?
Yeah, it's always been like my mum, my dad, and they'd always bring my son up.
Do you remember what that first visit was like though? Like with you, like you're in prison, it's your first visit with your mum. Was it who was on the first visit? Was your mum and your dad? Your mum, your dad separately?
No, they both came together.
What was that like? Emotional, must have been.
Yeah, oh God, totally. It's horrific.
And how's the visits work and stuff out of female like prison and stuff? Are you frog marched up to reception and taken up to visits, or have you got like a pass and they just like let you like in a Cat B? I was just given a movement slip and I'd take myself down to visits. In strange ways, we was like they would get us all in like a rotunda, which is like this hexagonal thing that comes off the wings, and then we was marched up to visits. Is that the same at Low Newton?
It used to be where you're all sat in a little. It was practically covered with any amount of you sat in there, just waiting to see if your visit turned up or they didn't. It's a bit more civilised now. You've got a little waiting room, but you do sit there. You have to get escorted across. Where I was at Low Newton, you have to get escorted across, and you just wait. You wait for them to turn up. You consider your visitors in there, and you get took out before they come in, and you sat there. You know they're there. They wouldn't put you out if they didn't come. If they don't come, you literally sat in this little waiting room waiting to see. And you've got until a certain time, and if you don't arrive by 3:15, that's it. They're not getting in.
Yeah. And so your visits and stuff like that, what was life like on the wing for you? Like, did they give you a job because you was on a short sentence, or did you were just like locked up, and then when you got out, you was out on social and stuff? Did they give you any job training skills or anything in that short sentence? No.
Not really. I think towards the end, because I did get my tag, so bear in mind I only did a few weeks all in all. Towards the end I did get a bit of education, but it takes a good few weeks to sort out. You've got to go for like interviews and they'll figure out what you're good for, and you maybe make a suggestion of what you'd like to do, and then by the time they come to you with a job placement, obviously the longer you're doing it, the quicker it happens, and it does happen quicker now. But back then it didn't. So I think I probably only had a job for a couple of weeks.
So when you was eligible for your tag, obviously for those that don't know, tag is known as HDC, which stands for Home Detention Curfew. So how soon, because you got 3 months, so when did you get that, about the 8-week mark, or?
I did 3 months. I got 3 months, so I did 2 weeks on it. Half the 3 months is 6 weeks. I did 2 weeks. I did 4 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got out after that stretch, eventually your tag had finished and stuff, and then you ended up going back to crime, didn't you? You got involved in this, that and the other. What was your offences like after the Section 20 and you've been released from prison? What offences did you get involved in, and was there a reason behind you getting involved in them offences?
Yeah, I got in, that was like 98, so I did the jail at the beginning of 99. In 2002 I got 12 months for intent to supply Class A's, and of which I did 4 months and got a couple of months on tag, And then in 2004, that's when I got the life sentence, so it was just a complete escalation in, like, the criminal behaviour and everything else that happened.
But there was, because at the time, I remember you saying that you started to dabble, you'd been taking drugs and stuff like that, and you got involved, sadly, taking Class A drugs, heroin, crack, and everything else. And did that lead on to you offending, like, shoplifting, like, doing bits of...
Oh, yeah, loads of daft little bits for things like that. It was pretty much shoplifting. It didn't even go beyond that. That bit of fraud, I had a few frauds. I did have an assault that got dropped due to the seriousness of the murder charge that I got done with. But it was all, just a bunch of drug lifestyle.
So you were stealing, you was obviously stealing, like shoplifting and stuff, to obviously steal, like, because like I said, I used to be involved with the drug trade and stuff, right? And a lot of the drug users, if they couldn't get the money, they'd come to us with, like I say, razor blades, meat, fish, coffee, all the usual necessities, razor blades, all that sort of stuff that you can sell.
Cheese,
cheese as well.
Like that,
some expensive commodities, people's, like, because they are quite expensive. So you were just stealing then you go, how would you'd steal them and then you go and sell them in the pubs and stuff, or?
Yeah. I think at the time it was like you'd get about a third of the price of it, just round the pubs. If you were neighbours that, people had put you on to, that like to buy a bit of cheap graft, and that was it, just making it like that,
So you were just stealing to feed your habit?
Yes.
I mean, at your worst and stuff, taking like the heroin and the crack and stuff, how bad was your habit? Like how many bags a day was you buying?
Wasn't so much the crack, because I don't really like that. Funny enough, not that I've not tried it. And the stupid thing is, I would do it if other people were doing it, which I still don't understand. But, wise, you're either going to need, like, I would need about 80 to 100 quid a day just for myself.
That's a lot.
And I don't, funny enough, I don't even think that's a lot compared to some people. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's been quite a while now, but at the time, but I'd say I'd at least have 50 or 60 quid a day just to feel quite happy with myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you were smoking it and injecting it and taking the dragon and all the rest of it that was with it. So you've done, like you said, you've gone on to that second stretch and stuff where you end up doing a few months on the second stretch. So the third stretch, so you was with this guy, you broke up for a short time, you got with this drug dealer, because he was obviously, he was giving you free drugs, which is obviously when you're you fall into these patterns. Then you've split up with him, you split up with the dealer, you've gone back to the ex who was a drug user. And then what were the circumstances in which this altercation happened in the train station?
The meeting bit, when it first kicked off, was purely coincidental. It was just, we were coming from an area about 30 miles away back into the northeast area where I'm from. That day, I was going to see my dad, and he was just there. And there was sort of a slight recognition, especially on part of him and my ex-partner who I was with at the time, who I'd got back with. They kind of recognised each other, but they'd been in jail together as well. And I don't think either of them proper clicked. You know, when you see a lot of faces and you think, I know you from somewhere, but obviously if you've been in jail, you do sometimes know people that you've just come across, they're not proper friends or anything. So they kind of recognised each other. And next thing from that, when they clicked on who they were, it just kicked off from there.
So this is taking place on the train, on the platform?
Initially on the public actual network, on the train itself, through two stations, down to the network station that was right next to my mum's, and that's where it completely went wrong.
So what happened then on the platform and stuff? So it started on the train, it's overspilled onto the platform, so everyone's got off at the same station. Yeah,
there was a bit of to and fro, as if they were going to get off at a different stop because he was with a friend, and as if me and my partner at the time were going to get off, and it went on. And I mean, you're not on the network for long, so say for about 10-15 minutes, then we both ended up at the same station. And to be honest, it was mostly just verbal at first. There was a lot of just arguing and daftness. They squared up with each other a couple of times, and then it kind of died down again. And then next thing I know, don't get us wrong, I was making my mouth go, I was full of it with my mouth going on. the next thing I noticed, like they squared up to each other, and the lad that got stabbed has just collapsed, and he's unfortunately being stabbed. There was one main stab wound, and it's cut the artery in his heart, and he went out at the metro station.
How many times was he stabbed? So he was stabbed by your boyfriend at the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, like I say, so this guy, you was with this drug user first, you got with the dealer, you went back to the guy who was taking the drugs, and then this altercations happened. How many times did your fella at the time stab up this ex of yours?
7 altogether.
7 times?
Yeah,
and then,
6 superficial and the main one, yeah.
So people are going to think, well, you didn't stab him, so how was you convicted? So what law was you convicted under?
Partly because I passed him the knife when he asked us to handle it, and also because my partner, because I was so verbal and so aggressive, it wound everybody else up and sort of fueled it, and also because afterwards, not ringing for any help.
So you was, for those subscribers that don't know, in the UK, there's a law called joint enterprise, right? Now, joint enterprise is a 300-year-old plus law, which all it means really in layman's terms is if you are in the vicinity of a violent offence, whether it's murder, and you are in the vicinity, even though you might not fully take part in the incident, they tie you all together. So say there's 10 people, they tie you all together and they charge you all with murder, and it's under joint enterprise. And it's disgusting. I personally, as an ex-offender, as an ex-con, I despise this law with a passion. The person that carries out the act should be arrested, charged, and that should be it. But you were tied together under this, so you didn't stab him, but you handed him the knife. You infuriate the situation by kicking off and stuff like that. And then, like I say, so from the incident and stuff, you guys obviously got on your toes, got out of the area.
Yeah, well, we tried. We didn't get very far. I made my way. We managed, because there was a copper chopper out and everything like that, we managed to get to a shop, and from there in a taxi, and I was going down to my dad's, and then we got to a bus station following that, and decided to get out. Well, he decided to get out, and we both ended up at another public station, which is ridiculous when you think about it, but that's where, like, the whole place, it's the area it is with cameras everywhere, do you know what I mean? There was no getting away from it, and got lifted straight away. I mean, don't get us wrong, I'm not saying that I don't hold any kind of responsibility, because I do. I just don't feel that, like you were saying about the joint enterprise thing, I don't necessarily think that I should have been charged for murder. I think there's a difference, and I should have maybe been charged for something else. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't have been away for quite a long time, but I don't agree with the law as it stands, you know what I mean, to do with joint enterprise. But yeah, we got caught quite quickly. It wasn't any like great escape or anything like that.
By armed police?
Do you know what? I couldn't tell you if we were armed or not, to be totally honest. It feels like, in my head now, looking back, I looked one way, and Cody, my co-defendant, was running, and I looked another way, and I was against the bus stop when my arms at my back. It happened just like that. I can't remember. It happened so fast. It was wow.
Now the twist with your story and the subscribers, it blew my mind. You was pregnant, weren't you, at the time?
No, not at the time.
Oh, was you not at the time?
No, not at the time. It was 2002, it was a couple of years before, I had a child.
Now, who was the father of that child?
The victim.
The victim that was stabbed to death on the train platform was actually the father of your daughter?
Yeah.
Because that, honest to God, that just blew my mind. Really, really. Because these two guys obviously clocked and thought, like you said, he was trying to work out where they knew each other from. And then it's like, you're trying to scan, do I know him from jail and stuff. And then obviously it's clicked with both of them, hang on. Because they was both obviously like a jealousy thing, because they both fought for your affections. You'd had a child to the guy that ended up getting stabbed to death on this train platform in front of people and stuff. And then, like I said, that is just absolutely crazy. So you was arrested, you were taken to the local police station in your local area. How long, because obviously with murders, in the UK, for those that don't know, ordinarily you're given 24 hours for the police to arrest you, question you, bail you, charge you, or no further action you. But with murders, you can apply for extensions, can't they, to get
Yeah, that's
extra
what
time
we
to question you. So what did you spill the beans? Did you go no comment?
did. It was, I was advised by my solicitor just to give them like an account. I couldn't believe I could get, because I hadn't physically done it, I did not think I could get charged for murder. I didn't know anything about this whole joint enterprise thing. So if anything, I did my best to lessen it on him at the time. So I told them basically, like, it was my fault. I'd had this relationship, I'd gone behind his back, I'd done all X, Y and Z. And that obviously it was my fault that they ended up like not liking each other, because I didn't think that I could actually get done with murder for that, because I hadn't physically done it. So I'm sitting there trying to make everything easier for everyone, and clearly like it didn't work, because I didn't have a clue about it. But I was actually in from the Thursday until the Monday. They did apply for the extra time. They had a special court on the Friday night, I think it was about 8 o'clock at night, to keep us in over the weekend. Plus it was a bank holiday, so I didn't get moved from the police station till the Tuesday, from the Thursday till the Tuesday.
Wow. So at what point did they charge you over the weekend?
I can't remember that, you know.
Because you must have been, like, obviously, because you was arrested, obviously. So what did your Cody, your partner at the time, your co-defendant, what did he go no comment in interview?
Yeah.
So I thought that was going to be the case. So
Yeah.
every question that he's asked, did he drop a prepared statement denying the allegation, or did he just out and out, just no comment to every question?
As far as I'm aware, it was just no comment all the way.
Because he didn't want to incriminate himself, but by you sort of blaming yourself and taking the blame on in a police interview, which are obviously recorded and then transcribed and can be used in a court of law should you be charged, you've actually taken on a lot of the, like, you blamed yourself, but by doing so, you've, under this joint enterprise, which I didn't know what it was until a few years ago, until I ended up in prison, you're just thinking, well, I've not done anything here, but I'm going to try and sort of lessen the blow on him, like reference a motive and stuff like that.
Totally, and walked into it. Just walked straight into it.
So on the Tuesday, so you've been kept in over the weekend. It was a bank holiday, which is the worst time to ever be arrested.
Oh, God, isn't it?
On a Friday, because like I said, you kept in Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So then they charged you, so obviously they refused your bail. I'm assuming they would have obviously taken you to the local, did they take you to the magistrate's court locally?
Yeah, that was where I think they got the extension to keep us in over the weekend.
Yeah.
It was quite blurry, honest, when it comes to whether it was magistrates or Crown. But yeah, they got the extension, they kept us in, and then I went straight off to the jail on remand on the Tuesday.
So to go to court, you've got to go before you've got to be up in court, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you went up on the Tuesday, on the Tuesday morning, they transferred you in a prison sweatbox to the magistrate's court. You obviously knew that you was because you'd been remanded previously on that section 20 or convicted, should I say? You knew that you was going to be remanded into custody, I'm assuming, or did you not think that was the case? Did you think he was going home?
No, I knew it. I knew it really.
But you didn't want to admit it, sort of thing.
Yeah, totally.
So then you're in the dock with your co-defendant, and then obviously I'm assuming no bail application was made from your brief.
There was.
So the CPS then appealed that, obviously, because the judge was never going to give you, obviously.
No. I can't remember how it happened. I'm not even 100% sure it was there and then. I do know at one point, though, I did have some kind of bail appearance because my dad had went, and obviously it was laughable, because we're saying, like, my age and everything like that, can you guarantee that you'll keep her under lock and key? But she couldn't. I'm an adult, do you know what I mean? Sort of kidnapping us yourself. You couldn't keep us in. So it was like, it was, I don't know why they even tried, but you do try anything, don't you, at the time? Because I remember they'd applied for your JC, but that just never even went ahead. That was just laughable as well. It wasn't ever going to happen.
Yeah, so how old was you when all this was going on? So you're now being remanded into custody. How old was you at this point? What year was this?
26, and it was in 2004.
2004. So you'd obviously been bailed and stuff, pending. Obviously, you sort of admitted sort of your role in it, but obviously because your co-defendant had gone not guilty, it would obviously go forward for trial.
Yeah, it did.
How long so you was then remanded into custody. What prison was you sent to then from your local area?
Low Newton.
So you was back in Low Newton again for a third time?
Yeah.
So you've landed at Low Newton and stuff. Was you treated differently because it was a murder case and stuff like that, or was you like...
No, not at all. To be honest, like, after I finally got sentenced, because it happened in April, I got sentenced in the December.
Yeah.
That's when a few of the girls clicked. When I did get sentenced, there was a load of people didn't know, and that was including staff, didn't even know what the state was or how, like, sluggers or anything like that, but it wasn't because of that, it's just because I didn't think, a lot of them didn't even think that's what I was in for, do you know what I mean? Them that did know, everyone thought I'd be fine eventually. Well, not that I'd get murder anyway. I knew I was going to do a chunk of time, but I didn't think I'd get laid off. But I never got any difference for it in any way, shape or form, to be perfectly honest.
So in 2004, so the trial took place in the December of 2004. You've been on remand obviously a couple of months. Your co-defendant was obviously, I'm assuming he ran trial?
Yes.
He ran trial, so he had nothing to lose.
Yes.
He was convicted. You was obviously convicted alongside him under this joint enterprise. How long did he get?
The same.
He got 14 years as well.
Yes.
So you should. That's annoying though, because you sort of thrown. Did you run trial as well? Because you sounded like you'd thrown your hand in.
No, we did both go not guilty.
Right.
I had options of manslaughter, just bog standard manslaughter, manslaughter by provocation or diminished responsibility.
Yeah.
And I had like reports to go with that, psychologists and psychiatrist reports. Also, if he'd gone guilty, it wouldn't have went to trial and I would have got manslaughter. But as it is, it went to trial and it was for the murder.
Both ran trial, was both convicted. And like I say, a life sentence with a minimum carry for 14 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Obviously, minus what you'd spent on remand as well, because obviously you'd been remanded in custody. So after you'd been sent down and stuff, like when you was in the dock during the trial, you must have thought like, there must have been a slim chance or there's a high chance that you was going to go home. Because in yourself, you must have thought, I didn't physically do anything here. At trial, they're going to take it easy on me and I'm going to walk or I'm going to get a lesser sentence or...
No, it was proper weird because part of us did think that, and that's, I don't know, because part of us really did, but at the same time when I got found guilty, I sort of knew it. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I was just looking at the worst or just whatever, but I just stood there and I knew what I was going to say before they said it. It was just, you could tell by everything that was being said. Obviously, I did hope for the chance, and at one point he did say that he would go guilty if he would drop mine to a manslaughter, but by that point it was too late. So it was just stand there and hope for the best. But it's weird to describe how the hope keeps you thinking that you're going to be alright, yet the realistic side is kind of accepted it the second the words were said that I was guilty. I knew. I hadn't expected any different. But yeah, I did at the same time. I can't explain it.
You sort of like in your mind, you're planning for the worst, but you're hoping for the best.
Yeah, exactly. And that little bit of hope does still win out. You know what I mean? I can't say I wasn't gutted because I was devastated. So like, there's that bit of hope there, but realistically, you just know because you just know you're there, you're trapped in your jail and everything's said about you. And even if you can't relate that to what happened or who you are, it's being said, and you know what people are going to think, you know what I mean? It's a mad, funny old situation, proper.
So this was at Newcastle Crown Court, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
So the trial took place at Crown Court, so the severity of the offence and stuff. So again, you've been convicted again. Was your Cody on the sweatbox was he taken to Franklin, do you know?
Durham at first.
Right, Durham at first. So he was on the same sweatbox as you leaving the jail?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a couple of times, I know, not every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was there when they came to pick us up, sometimes he was there on the way back. So, yeah, because sometimes we got to pick each other out, at times we'd have the music on that loud that we couldn't, and it was just like making the most of it, you know what I mean, at the time.
Yeah. And then at what point did you, from obviously being remanded to being obviously sentenced, did you lose contact with this guy? Did you cut him from your life? Did you just lose contact because you was both lifed off? Or
it was still a good few years in. I'd say about maybe 3 or 4 years. And it got to the stage where he was writing certain things, and it was all too late. It was all water under the bridge. There was nothing going to change it, you know what I mean? And I started feeling really bitter, and I just thought, what's the point in writing to someone when there's just pure bitterness? More so from my side.
Yeah.
For right or for wrong, I don't know, because everyone will have a different opinion. But for me, I did feel proper bitter towards him, and I just thought, it's pointless. Why am I wasting time, pen and paper? Do you know what I mean?
So while she was in the prison and stuff, right, you're obviously being convicted now and you're going to be on a long sentence. So obviously the offender management unit would have been offering you courses left, right and centre, or...
Yes, eventually.
Did you get a job first, or did you just put you straight on courses, or...
I got a job first.
What was your job?
In kitchens.
How much?
I can't remember, it's always kitchens.
Yeah, so how much a week would you get for working in the kitchens?
I think it was about a tenner at the time. It might have been 8.
And was
I remember what it was when I left was a lot more. I can't remember so much when I first started it. Not a lot though.
So you was working 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 7 days a week?
Pretty much. You work until 5, and on a weekend you'll always do either, well it's just mornings there anyway, because you get tea packs in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So you'll always do at least one day of the weekend. So
you was working like 6
morning.
days a week pretty much, but for £10 a week.
Yeah.
And
you do early. I know. You can't live on that. Even back then you couldn't. And you do early as well. You'll get your normally work starts about in kitchens 8:30ish. But on a weekend, with it being they do it completely different. You don't get your meals set up the same. So you get a brunch in the middle of the morning, which is just like a fry-up, a nasty fry-up, and then you get tea packs with a few sandwiches and biscuits in on the tea time, but you'll go in at 6 o'clock, 6:30 to start on a weekend.
So it seems like you guys didn't get hot meals at tea time, like?
No, not on a weekend.
That's crazy, that. No, because in male prisons, right?
You starve a lot of the time, I can't lie, you feel like you're hungry.
Yeah, because the thing is, another thing as well, whilst you're on the wings, right, obviously I've been in male prisons and I know how readily available drugs are in male prisons because of kids everywhere. Is it the same in the female prisons and stuff, reference drugs?
Yeah, pretty much. You have your times when it's just free for all, and then it'll dry up and then it'll just all fill up again. Yeah.
What sort of drugs were available? Because did you still have your addiction at this time?
Yeah, it took a long time for me to let go of that, a long time. It was only because the choice of drugs changes, really. Like, when I first went in, I'd say it was very, heroin orientated, and then it changed to something because it's cheaper and easier, and they can't smell it so much. And then, over the years, it's gone on to spice, and now Buscopan, the IBS tablet, and that's just making everyone act there's people being sectioned because of it and everything. It's ridiculous. But at the time, very much still, I would do whatever I could so that I was bouncing off the walls and I didn't have to think of where I was or what I was doing.
It sounds like you were taking drugs, one, because you was an addict, and two, as a coping mechanism to escape the reality of the surroundings. Yeah,
definitely, because when I was out, what I was taking was based on the addiction. When I was in there, what I was taking was based on just to take something.
Was it boredom? Was it a coping mechanism? Was
coping. Obviously, there was a bit of boredom in there, but most parts coping. Definitely coping. I didn't sleep for years, so anything I could get that would help me get my head down. Anything, just so I didn't have to know where I was. Absolutely anything. I've been in some disgusting states. It's shameful to talk about, but as long as I did not have to think this is where I'm sat, I would do it.
Because it's not like it's I'm out in a few weeks, I'm out in a few years.
Nah.
You've just been sentenced. You were told by a judge you were not going to be. The earliest you're going to get out of prison is in 14 years' time, and that's only possibly because you've got to go before the parole board.
Yeah.
And it must have just spiraled into depression. You must have done.
I did. I got put on all kinds of meds off the doctor in the first place just to try and cope. There's no end to it, is there? Because even if you want to get the halfway mark, that's still 7 years. And that's if you're just doing the 14, and you can't even... 7 years is still a long time. There's no... Because they teach you in there to make yourself all these goals, and they've got to be realistic and time specific and all this, that and the other, but nothing is, because it's just, you can't even begin to fathom the amount of time that's in front of you. You just sat there, and I really did not want to think about that, and I would do everything possible. But the more you're doing stuff to stop yourself thinking about it, the more you're probably prolonging the sentence you're doing in the first place. So there's a no-win situation, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So because you was a lifer, was you kept on a lifer's unit, or is it different in female prisons?
No, it's a little bit different now. But at first, you had like 3 stages. In your stage 1, you would be on a lifer wing. Then you go to stage 2 where you'd be, but they were never up here. They were always miles away down the country. And then you could integrate like on a normal wing. And your stage 3 is open. And they've kind of got rid of it now. But not properly, do you know what I mean? So I was on a lifer wing, which became a BSPD unit, which became just basically a lunatic asylum wing. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
So, like, whilst you were taking the drugs and stuff, did you ever get piss tested, like drug tested?
Yeah.
At what time, do you remember your first piss test and, like, what you'd been taking and stuff?
I don't remember proper, like, my first one, probably the first one I do remember in any great detail was there was me and a load of my friends. And can you remember when that crazy frog tune came out?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we was trying to break dance to that on the shiny floor.
Yeah.
So we all just got shoved in the SGT room and got piss tested for that.
So what did it come back as? Was yours like going up like a rainbow or what when you pissed into this?
Yeah, there was always usually Subutex and...
Was you on a script at this time as well from a prescription like for methadone or anything?
Oh, they didn't do them then.
Seriously? So without the Subutex that you was taking illegally within inside the prison, you would have had to go cold turkey.
Yeah.
Even though how dangerous that is for an addict with like I said, you said you're spending about £100 a day on the out.
Yeah, it wasn't completely cold. They give you like 2 DFs in the morning, 1 at lunchtime and 2 on the night, 25 mils I think.
But it wasn't enough for you to operate.
Oh my God, nah. You're ill. You're curled up on your bed, you're sitting through the eye of the needle, you're thrown up, you're cramped up, you're lying there for a good month, no sleep, no nothing. There's an outlet that they didn't used to. And on my first sentence, when I first went in, I wasn't on anything then, luckily, but all they gave you was crushed up paracetamol.
It's crazy, man, isn't it? So on this drug test and stuff, right, so obviously this is your first drug test that you remember in detail, so it's come back as a positive, obviously. So they slid an adjudication or a nick-in under your door.
Yeah.
You've gone before the governor. What do you remember your punishments that you got on the varied drug test and stuff? Did they vary your punishment?
Yeah, anything from about 5 days to 2 weeks.
How would you explain that punishment to the subscribers? 5 days to 2 weeks.
For that amount of time, whatever period of time they set it for, you're behind your door. You do get to go to work, but the rest of the time, because we had a massive dining hall there where everyone ate together, you get your meal brought to you in a dirty, stinky box with like just a plate over it and everything when everyone else is being fed. You don't get unlocked to associate. You can have the odd phone call. You do get to have the odd phone call. And obviously shower and stuff like that. You don't have television.
You're talking cell confinement, obviously.
Yes,
when you confine to your cell, anyone that doesn't know, just as for the subscribers and stuff, and obviously we've got people in the States, cell confinement is a punishment, like I said, there's a behavioural scheme in prison called IEP, incentive privileges. Now, you was obviously put on basic, and obviously feed off, where you're locked up for 23 hours a day for the most, in a male prison anyway, it'd be 23 hours a day lock up. You get out for half an hour in the morning to get a shower, post a letter, get on the telephone, do you know what I mean? And then half an hour in the evening. Was that the same with you then?
I think you just get pretty much the half hour a day for a bit of exercise if you want to go out on the yard, depending on the weather, and get a few bits done, but that is it. Your meals are brought you behind the door. You've got no television. That's it, yeah. Proper cellular confinement.
Did you get prison radio?
Sorry?
Did you get prison radio?
I had my own sent in. That was it, yeah.
So, like I say, because the thing is, without, obviously, for me, the most dangerous thing in prison isn't the drugs, isn't the violence. For me, it's your own thoughts and stuff, because you can take you from dark places. How did that affect you?
Like, in full detail of all honesty.
Yeah.
I've sat there, like, actually imagining, feeling like the walls are closing in on us. Like, sitting there in my own head, like as if the room's shrinking. Things that you would see on the telly and wouldn't think would happen to a real person. I've self-harmed. I've been on acts. It used to be 2052, what is it? 20, can't remember. They've changed the act now, which is like suicide watch and stuff like that. Yeah. Not very often, but it's happened. Just completely sat there losing it. There's no end. I can't explain it. It's the thought. It got to a stage where I decided when I went behind the door I wouldn't think of anything good or bad, because the bad's bad anyway, but the good would lead to guilt, which would lead to bad thoughts. So I trained my brain, you go behind the door, you just concentrate on reading. That is it, you're reading your book or you're watching the telly, and that is it. Because everything else, let alone when that telly or something's took away from you, then you are just sat there with your own head. You're right, there's nothing worse. Your own head is your own worst enemy, especially when that's all you've got, when you're sat in that little space to think about everything.
So because you was obviously you knew you was going to serve a minimum of 14 years. Did you live day to day, hour to hour, or was you counting down? Some people, obviously not on long stretches, I'm assuming, but people like have got like a calendar and they're marking off the days. Did you live day to day and just think, well, I'll get to the next day, I'll get to the next day, or did you go from week to week or month to month?
I've tried it. I tried the whole day thing because I thought a day is still a day. Yeah. It still adds up in the like the grand scheme of it. But nah, that doesn't work. It has to be just the sort of like, before you know it, about the time, your whole perspective of time changes. It's just, the days end up rolling into one, so it's not as bad, but at first, I tried the day-to-day thing, then I tried just thinking on the same day every month. I'll make a little mark there and I'll count the months, but it doesn't matter, they're all endless. If you know what I mean, it doesn't really make any difference, so in the end it's just like, give up on that, and just do it, just do it.
How important was your family contact and stuff from the outside? Did that keep you going? Was that your light at the end of the tunnel? Because you've obviously got your son, you've got your mum and your dad and stuff, right? How important was they in keeping your head on your shoulders and like reducing your self-harm, potential suicidal thoughts and stuff? Was it a big factor? Was it a small factor?
No, it was everything. It was absolutely everything. If I thought for 1 minute, and like I did say it to you last night, I don't know how to explain it properly, because it does, not that I've ever not been grateful for them, because I always have, but just sometimes I've thought to myself, if I had it would be so much easier if I had nothing to care for, because I could just run riot. But I had them, especially my son, to care for, and although it makes it harder, it makes it so much more worthwhile, because that is it, I'm getting out for him, because he deserves more than me and what I've given him. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to get out and I'm going to prove to him that I am worth it, and he has got a mum that loves him and everything. But it's a proper two-edged sword. It's good on one hand, it's the best thing ever, but on the other hand, it does the guilt and the hurt and the pain and everything that comes with it. I could do it every day if I had to. Do you know what I mean? I don't particularly like it, but there's times it doesn't have to be hard. You can just, if you really, really want it, you can push the boundaries and you can do what you want. And do you know what I mean? I could walk around wobbling about all over the place and not caring. But you've got to sort yourself out for your family, or at least I did, because he deserves more. So it's a punishment on them. That's what they mean more than anything.
I mean, I always say, when I do all the interviews and stuff, I always say, the importance of family ties whilst in prison can be the difference between life and death, because
oh God,
it really, really can, because for me, if I didn't have that light at the end of the tunnel, I would have spiraled into depression a million times worse. I'd have had nothing to live for, and I honestly believed I would have done myself in jail.
That's what I would have. The first bit of my sentence I did for them, I'd say at least over half of it, and you're talking a good few years, I did that for them, because I thought there was no one in the world ever going to ring my mum and tell her she hasn't got a daughter anymore, for her to have to tell my son, because that's just totally selfish, and I'm not ever going to do that. They deserve more than that. It wasn't until the last few years, perhaps even only 3 or 4 years, the last 3 or 4 years, that I thought, I'm going to do this sentence for me. and get out and do something for me. Before that, it was all for them. If they hadn't been there, I wouldn't be. What was the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, of the other prisoners that you was housed with and stuff, right? Did they have family support networks? Did you see them spiraling to depression, self-harm, suicide attempts?
No, I've had a lot of friends commit suicide. A lot of friends. Yeah. With and without family support. That's the funny thing. Some of them just suddenly don't think they're worth it, or I don't know, even when the family has supported them, I wouldn't say that I've noticed a massive difference. Obviously, I suppose there is, yeah, but there's a fair few that have had the family support exactly the same as me and being lucky, and they have just still decided that they're going to give up. It may have been because of the relationship gone wrong, even within the prison, when I've seen girls in violent relationships with each other. I've been totally overlooked and disregarded, and or sometimes something goes wrong at home, or sometimes no, they just haven't got anything, and it's just like, I can't do this again. I've had girls say that they'd swap places with us so that they didn't have to go outside and sleep in a box on the streets and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'd sleep on a box. I'd walk out here stark bollock naked. I'd walk home like that for everyone to see if you'd let me go home. But they're saying so they had a roof over their head, that happily swap places with me. It's mad. It's such a contrast, it really is.
Yeah. What effect would you say prison has on you, like emotionally and psychologically and stuff? Because I think it's hard to put into words, and the damage that it does to you.
It drains, yeah, it takes everything from you. It drains everything from you. Yeah, you're locked away and everything like that, and I know, like, people have a lot to say about some of the things that we have, especially lasses, because we can get the odd PlayStation and we can get straighteners and hairdryers for our hair and that, but none of that makes up for what you're losing out for. And yeah, you in many cases, and you do probably deserve it, you know what I mean, but, like, it doesn't make up for it. It drains everything from you. It takes absolutely everything away from you. It's soul destroying. Absolutely soul destroying.
Yeah. So what, like, experiences did you have on the wing, reference like violence and stuff? Was you ever attacked? Did you ever have to kick off with someone? Did you see other girls in relationships, like you said, attack each other over drugs and the violence and stuff? Is violence a big part of female prison life?
Not massive where I was since cameras got put in, and that was quite early on in my sentence, because obviously no one wants to get caught blank the right what they're doing. I have seen, like, a lot of relationships with violence in them and everything. Me, myself, I have been in trouble for fighting loads of times. I've never been attacked. I've usually ended up being the instigator. I've been shipped to different prisons for it a couple of times, do you know what I mean? I've been down the block for it in segregation.
What was you fighting over? What was it over? Was it?
Over drugs, usually, or just daftness, people's attitudes because of drugs. Might not necessarily be like a debt thing. It could be someone saying something or just something daft. My attitude, perhaps, if I was on a come down, or if I was wrecking myself, or their attitude because of it. Yeah, it's been that. It's never been relationships or age, but...
Because the one thing that, obviously, and I never understood it and stuff, and we talked about this last time, is about the lesbian relationship that develop in prison with females that have never gone near a girl in their life. They might be married, they might have a fella on the out, they've been with years, they might have kids with that fella. They go to prison, and whether it's over a few weeks, a few months, or a few years, they end up in a lesbian relationships. I've never understood it, and I don't understand the logic. It blows my mind.
Let's tell you, because honestly, sometimes it's not even that, sometimes it's days, and they'll come in the hair down to the loft, you know what I mean? And the next thing they've got a short back and side. It's proper, it blows my mind, I don't know, but I can't lie, because I've done it myself. But it did take about 2 years, do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know if it's a contact thing, or if it's like a friendship thing, or I don't know if it's a protection thing. There's not just you anymore, there's 2 years. I have to give it some thought, you know, and I can't come up with a proper solution for it. Because just all of a sudden, I never thought I'd do anything like that. And then all of a sudden it's like you actually fancy a lass, like in the same way as what you fancy a lad. And I don't know how that takes place.
Because if you was never in prison, do you honestly ever believe there would have come a point in your life where you'd have thought, right, I'm a lesbian?
Nah.
So prison sort of not forced it on you, but it's like living with these women day in, day out and stuff, and seeing them naked in the showers and stuff like that. You're gonna look at you and stuff, and women do admire women's bodies and stuff, but then it develops from a friendship, comfort thing into this sort of protecting, loving relationship. And how many people would you say, like, it's probably hard to say percentage, but how many women in your prison, like, fell into, like, lesbian relationships or, like, was lesbians when they went to prison or started becoming lesbians whilst inside? Was it quite a few, one or two?
Oh my God, no, I'd say, right, I'm not exaggerating, I'd say 96, 97%, maybe even more.
Serious. It sounds like some
They're
out of, like,
all
Orange
bang
is
at
the New
it.
Black or something.
Yeah, definitely, they're all bang at it, really, they are. And they will have, like, the lads coming up and seeing them and stuff like that. And they might not even ever declare it, but some of them will just never go near a man again, or some of them will bounce between the two. It makes no difference, it's just like, and like I said, it can just happen overnight pretty much. I don't know if it's an attention thing. I really don't know.
I don't think anyone can actually fully put the finger on the reasons why. But it just does develop, doesn't it? So you was on the wing, so when you was on the wing, who was your first, like, missus that you came into contact with? Was it just casual sex, or was it just, like, friendship that developed?
It was a friendship, but I did end up being in a relationship for a few years. Yeah, when proper fella girls are worse than blokes to be with, I'm telling you.
Like jealousy and stuff like that? And
right, I say men are like heartache, girls are headache.
Yeah,
what
why
you do
that?
to your
How would
head
you
is
describe
only
that?
the mess in your head, they do funny things, they're strange. Like a bloke might go out and the more like there is other kinds of relationships and that, but the most you've got to worry about is if he's dipping his wit elsewhere. But girls that do all sorts of things like with your head, it's weird, even if it's down to the clothes they wear or doing their makeup and their hair, it's really weird. It's like it comes super bitchy, or it can do. It's bizarre unless they're the ones that have shaved the hair off. And then they think they're proper passing over and they can get anyone they want because they've shaved their head. And believe me, people flock to them. You put a brand new bird come in the jail with short hair and that's it. They're like magnets, everyone's drawn to them. It's proper bizarre. I don't know what it is. Don't know if it's because they look like blokes or not. But
you get pretty lesbians, or are they like butch, or are they sort of, or is it coming a whole range?
A whole range. A whole range, definitely. Like, I've never shaved my hair off and felt to not shave and stuff. You get the odd few that don't shave their armpits or legs as well. They're special. Like, that's different again. Do you know what I mean? It's mental.
It's crazy, man. The thing, because you went through it, and like you said, over 14 years, I think you said you'd had about 7, like, partners in them 14 years and stuff. So, like, how does it go about, the one thing I don't understand, how would sex work? Would you just lock off, or, like, would you like, after school, you can pad up with your girlfriend in a double cell, or were they all single cells, or on social?
Yeah, some do. If they don't know you together, if they know you together, they won't let you. Right. You know what I mean? You've got to try and keep it, like...
discreet.
Yeah, which is hard. It doesn't happen really, because someone will say something at some point. But if not, luckily, one of the things of being on like a wing like I was, when you've got your own room, your own little shower bit and everything, you do kind of get left to yourself, or you can go in the bathroom and just make it look like you're not in. It's gotten a bit harder over the years.
Yeah. You can lock your cell door off on the inside, can't
you?
You lock off, cover your flap, and then you get down to what you want to do. And obviously, if you doubled up, so on the lifer unit, what you was on, it was single cells then for the most part?
Yeah. Everyone was on the lifer wing,
so your chances on social, innit? Get on social, get into your pad, lock off, cover the flap.
Yeah.
And then, because obviously, for those that don't know, if you're in prison and you're on association and you go to your mate's door and his door's locked from the inside and you open the flap and it's blocked off, that means they're obviously doing business, or they're on the toilet, or just getting their head down, or whatever. You leave them alone, don't you? You go back to playing pool or doing whatever you was doing. That's how it goes, though, isn't it? You've got to respect the privacy, and sometimes you get a dickhead that will be banging on the door. Let me in. It's like, listen, like, you know what I mean? But so on the lifers unit, obviously, it's well documented that there's a serial killer, obviously by the name of Rose West, that's in that prison. Did you come across her on the lifers unit?
Yeah. I lived on there while she was living on there. I hadn't been there at first, because I'd been to a different prison at the time. And then I came up, and it was very different in the few years I'd been away. And they started bringing in pretty much like cat-ear females that have to be escorted everywhere, and she was one of them. And I didn't want to look at first. It was only when someone had said, it was like, have a little look out the window, blah, 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 and she was there. There was a few of them, a few notorious people on there. Baby P's mum was on there as well.
So what's she called her? Tracy Connolly, you said?
Yes, yeah.
So Baby P's case was a sad and tragic one, weren't it? I mean, what she did and stuff. But the one thing that, the one thing that obviously rings true from what you just said, she was obviously in for neglect of her son, who obviously tragically died. Now, they don't have protection wings in female prisons, do they? Like in male prisons, they've got the vulnerable prisoners unit, which houses child murderers, like sex offenders, rapists, paedophiles, and then you've got the exceptions, you've got the gang members, drug people, like own protection. But you don't have that in female prisons, do you?
No, not the worst is like there was not so much Rose, but the other one. If there was something on the telly at that particular time about her, she was a bit sheltered at first and she got her meals brought. So I know when I said before, like when you're on rough off and you get your meals in a box.
Yeah.
But there came a time when they just weren't having it anymore, you know, because everyone else has to go down there. And there's been a few instances of getting spat on and tapped in the dining hall and like the slop bucket threw over them and stuff like that. But
so who's this? Is this one particular?
That was
West or like?
That was Tracy Conley, Baby P's mum. Rose West herself is actually escorted everywhere, although she has been spat on and blah 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 in a roundabout way. The best people could get to her, you know.
So she was on the wing with you. She was actually housed on your wing. She'd walk around, you'd see her on social. Did you ever work on the servery or anything like that?
Yeah.
So you've actually served her food as well?
Yeah.
Now, as a mother yourself, right, and you're housed with this woman, like, I don't know if women have got a softer nature than guys, but if that was in a male prison, like, and it was like a baby killer, like, that baby killer's getting done in, he's getting his food corrupted, he's getting smashed at every opportunity, but obviously that doesn't happen. But in female prisons, you're serving her food. Now, as a mother yourself...
Get corrupted.
What's that?
Our food did get corrupted.
Right,
there was like plenty of bits that people could do. The main thing is, like, in my personal choice to get out and be with my kids, that's what I had to try and focus on, do you know what I mean? But they're not... They get away with a lot more, they do. It's disgusting. They can walk around a lot easier than what they could, from what I've heard in a lad's jail. It wouldn't happen, I know.
In a female prison, so you're serving food to, like I say, this Tracy Connolly, this Rose West and stuff, right? It must be hard for you, being a mother yourself, having kids, right? And then you've got this woman who fucking, like, one neglected a kid, and then one of them who's having, like, incestual relationships, like, got Rosie's children pregnant and stuff, and raping, murdering the kids and stuff, and it must be hard for you.
It is, it's proper surreal, like, there's sometimes you're just going about your daily life, and then the next minute you look around, you're like, what the fuck, I'm here with them, I'm looking at them. I have sat there with staff before and said, I can't cope, like, what? You know, just asking the question, like, why am I seeing these people? This isn't, like, I can't do this. I can't put into words, like, how desperate you get at them times, because you're looking at these people and you don't even know what do they think about before they go to bed at night, you know what I mean? And, like, they've had girlfriends, they've had partners, they're busting around like this now, no matter, it's done years, it's even staff have been, they don't want to work with them, they don't. Do you know what I mean? And what do you do? I could be solely responsible for perhaps doing something, but then I'm deferring my parole and getting out in the meantime. And it's like, you're stuck, but it's sickening. It's sickening. I've been to doctors. I've had to speak to people before for help. We haven't to be around these people because I've not been able to cope.
Who else did you come into contact with, like, high profile, or that have done some really heinous, horrible, fucking vile things?
I don't know high profile wise.
Even if it's just like they're in, but they might not be documented in the media, but they've done some very vile, disgusting things, and you've actually come in contact with them.
When they changed the wing I was on with the SPD unit, which is dangerous to their personalities, and they decided in a female establishment to, like, sort of integrate it with lifeguards, whereas I think in the male estate they're separate, like in Franklin and that. There was one in particular that had to be weaned off a dodie, like a baby's dummy, and talk like a baby, was in for something horrific, and we couldn't even put, like, a lot of the girls do cross-stitch and sort of little activities like that. So say if you had like a particular magazine that had patterns in to do for babies, or even like your alphabet, your A, B, C, D and pastel colours or whatever, and they couldn't just be put in the bin because she was that bad. Everything got vetted at the library, and we're normally not vetted in what we get at the library. It's not censored. And just absolutely nothing. She couldn't have anything to do with anything like that.
So pictures of children in a magazine.
Yeah, nothing like that. Completely not allowed anything like that.
Was it a sex case, or no one no one had discussed what she was in for because it was that?
It wasn't highly discussed. It wasn't like talked about massively in detail. I do know it was naughty, and I do know it involves like a sexual and a physical abuse element.
It sounds like nonsense or something to a bad extent.
Proper.
You spoke like a baby as well. She sounds childlike in the way she spoke. Is it the same girl that you mentioned about the hair straighteners?
Yeah.
What was the situation with the hair straighteners?
She used to just put them up herself on the night and
while they was hot?
Yeah. Tin lids off the tins of sardines you can buy on the canteen. Coming out would have pulled a fingernail out. Like, you know, when you get unlocked for meds, because they do a nighttime meds, and on a weekend you usually locked in earlier, so you'd come out and there'd just be a few years who were on meds. Fingernail out, pulled a tooth out, standing there, bleeding, whatever. Just disgusting, disturbing stuff that you wouldn't believe.
The thing is, being housed with people like that must have impacted your mental health, seeing that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one time, this particular person was playing a tape. You know when a tape walks and it goes in slow motion?
Yeah. And it
like
makes over,
just over and over again. And I'm like at my door shouting abuse, do you know what I mean? Because I can't cope, and it's like, it's nothing if I've seen it. And I started to think I was losing the plot. I've had to have help. And she used to talk to an imaginary boyfriend, and you could hear the conversation going on, except it was one-sided. But you could hear like the whole tone of voice going up and down as if it was a conversation. It was a madhouse. It was a lunatic asylum. I've never known anything like it. No one should have to go through that ever, because that was a proper bad place to be. That was definitely, like, I'd say.
And this was all in Low Newton.
Yeah.
So while using Low Newton, what was it? Because you told me an interesting thing last night about Baby P's killer, mum.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tracy Connolly and Rose West.
Yeah, they were together. He had a relationship, I know.
Like sexual relationship, like short term, long term.
Yeah. I'd say short-ish, but wasn't just a one-off. The one known to have been. A lot of them people navigate towards each other, like they sort of gravitate towards each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, like some kind of radar that they give off.
Because they both abuse children. One regretted in the result of Baby P's death, and that's Tracy Connolly. And then she got out and was selling dirty pictures of herself online and stuff, and she got recalled. Then you've got Rose West, who, like I said, incestual relationships with her daughters. Her husband raped daughters, and then he murdered them, and it's fucked up, man. And then they just gravitate towards each other because they're sick, and they probably got off on what they was doing as well. I mean, it's mad.
They done better thinking about the conversations that they must have had together, but they do, and then they go off and do whatever it is they're doing. And it's like, I'd ever come across them. I don't think I'd do PR now if I did, because I don't think I'd ever get over it, you know what I mean? But there's some horrendous stuff. And, like, if I personally was in that situation and something like that had happened to me, and I had, like, you just, the last thing on my mind would be getting my leg over with another laugh, you know what I mean? But they're all bang at it, and they gravitate, they're all from each other. All from each other.
Do you get any, like, sexual assaults or rapes and stuff? Like, it happens in a male prison every now and again. Does that happen in female prisons with sexual, like, just rape and they go in on a woman or something?
I've heard, like, people claiming it, and then there was cases of, like, decrutching and stuff like that. So if someone thinks that someone's brought drugs in, and obviously they've got them sort of
internally inside
deposited up them, then there'll be people who try to go up there to get it, you know what I mean? Like, maybe the group of them and stuff like that. I've never, like, seen it myself. It's more rumours that I've heard, but I do believe, like, it goes on, you know what I mean? So, yes, it's mad. But there is lasses as well that have said, like, and I did say, and they give us such and such, and I ended up doing whatever, and basically saying that was being, like, raped or assaulted or whatever.
Yeah. Because the one thing that last night when we spoke and stuff, you said you can have like a baby, a child killer or like a female paedophile land in the wing,
Yeah.
but if they've got a shitload of drugs on them, everyone's the best mate.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that. If they want to be plugged up like with the eyeballs and everything and serve use to everyone else, I believe people will be their mate. I genuinely believe that.
So they could be in for like the most disgusting crimes where you look down your nose at them, you'd spit at them, but because they've got a shitload of drugs, subbies or whatever the case may be, like I say, the burst, what's it called, the what they call the tablets that you said, I can't remember, Buscopan, I can't think of the word. Usually, if they had a shitload of them, like a pussy full of them, people would just be the best mate and look over what they've done just so they could get that drug.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that 100%. Yeah. Not everyone, but I believe a fair few of them would. It didn't used to be like that, but it is these days.
That's what I mean, man. So what was your regime like in Low Newton and stuff, like Monday to Friday? I know weekends are obviously different.
I used to get up about 7:30.
Yeah.
Get out to work for about 8:30, 9:15.
So where do you have your breakfast? Do you get them what for cereal? Or cereal packs and you have it in yourself?
Yeah, you collect the cereal pack the night before we tea, and you have it the next morning when you breakfast. Get out, the mark you off if you're going off the wings, and you go to wherever it is you need to be going. Then you come back about 11:30, and you just go back out again about 2 to 4. On the afternoon.
Where did you guys eat in your cell, or did you have you had the late tables laid up on the landing and everyone would eat on the ones?
At Low Newton in particular, it's a big dining hall. It holds a good few hundred, so
you get everyone all the different wings coming together?
Yeah, they get staggered, and if you're in there for more than about 10-15 minutes and they think you're up to something, they'll put you on a box, so then you'll have to eat on the wing for a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad. So when you was there, how were the drugs coming in? Obviously, I know from a male's perspective, but we don't know females. Is it prison officers? Is it on visits? Is it drones? Is it internally, like when they'd be down?
I'd say mostly, especially since it changed as well. You can come back for 28 days easier now, I believe. I can't remember it properly, but it's going out in breaching your license.
Yeah,
license and come back in. Yeah. Yeah,
what were the officers like with you as well? What were the screws like on the wing? Were they different from one prison to the next, or they was all you've got good, bad, you've got old school cons, you've got the softer ones. Have you? What were your experiences of them?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. You've got the old school ones, and some of them some of them will be harsh, but they're fair. Do you know what I mean? Proper firm but fair.
Yeah.
I can deal with that. There is some proper decent ones. For the most part, once you're there and you are part of the furniture, they're pretty much all okay with you, do you know what I mean? But, I don't know, they get on with it. Some of them, they come with the brand new and haven't got a clue, and you've got to think to yourself, why are you working in a job like this, where you don't even like yourself, let alone the people that you're working with? But a lot of them, they are just firm but fair and getting on with it. It has changed over the years. It's changed dramatically. It used to be where, there was a lot more going on, but since it's all cameras and stuff like that, people don't get up to as much. I mean, I've been there, obviously, where there's a fair few cases of girls doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing and that, you know what I mean, with officers and everything. And
any sexual relationships between crews and cons?
Yeah. I mean, even just before I left Low Newton, there was one in particular that got sent to jail, do you know what I mean? She got sent to jail for being in a relationship with another, it was female, she was in a relationship with one of the inmates.
Yeah. Was there any male officers on your wing, in the jail?
Yeah, there's plenty of them about. There used to be a fair few of them. I mean, there's lots of them about. Not so much recently, but in the past they have met up with girls on the outside and everything like that and gone off and done what it is that they need to be doing. It's mad.
Yeah, man.
Not so much up north, but when I was down south there was a bit of a scandalous thing going on.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff, you know.
So
and I don't even know if it's for the benefits of what they might be bringing in as much as just purely getting sexual activity. Do you know what I mean? It's mad.
What was it like when you were shipped? So you was in Low Newton. What was the first time you went through dispersal, and how did it come about and stuff like? They put your door. Did they give you like an hour's notice or?
When I first got shipped out,
Yeah.
I went from Low Newton to Peterborough, which is like a private jail a bit further down the country.
Yeah.
And that was for fighting. I'd been JOAD. Well, it's JOOD now, isn't it? Good. It used to be JOAD. And I was actually kept behind the door that time because a lot of the time you get put down the block.
Yeah.
And it just became one morning, literally like pack your stuff, you've got half an hour to pack your stuff, you're going. That was it. Game over.
So you was in your pad, they come tell you, they throw you some bags, you've got to bag all your stuff up. They come and get you, take you down to reception, put you on a sweat box. Did they tell you where you was going, or you just knew you was getting shipped?
I just knew I was getting shipped. They didn't even know where I was going. They just had the postcode put in the air, sat nav thing, that was it.
How was on it? Was you on a sweat box? Was it a white van?
It was me. I was privately transported, like just took down in a car.
So how many was in the escort?
Just me.
So just you and a screw?
Yeah. Me and 3 screws, one driving, one in the front seat, and one in the back.
Yeah. Because that's crazy because there was a story that I covered the other day where in Scotland, it's known here. I remember when I first landed at Strangeways, a kid had been shipped from Franklin, and rather than put him in a sweat box, they just put him in a taxi with 3 screws. So taxi driver, screw in the passenger, screw either side of the con in the back, and then he came down via the taxi. How did you find the difference between private prison officers and the HMP screws from Low Newton?
At the time, the HMP screws were better.
Did you prefer HMP at the time, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
In what way?
Because when I went down there, at the time I had no jobs for anyone. Yeah. I mean, when was this? So I went in 2004. I was there in 2008 at Peterborough. I had to do a pre-release course just to get out from behind the door. And it was only like 5 mornings a week. So that was like a 5 a week. I got £1 a session. I was lucky I had private cash. But apart from that, that was it. Just purely banned in all the time.
Did you have visits while you was in Peterborough as well? Did your mum come down? Because obviously mum drives and stuff, or?
Yeah, they all came down, but it wasn't as often. I couldn't get them every fortnight like I had before. So it was like every once a month or 6 weeks or something.
So I can imagine the expense that's involved travelling from travelling from the northeast down to Peterborough. So, I mean, it's a long way to travel. Then you've got money on the visits, and then you've got phone calls. How much were your mum and dad sending in? Like, obviously they're separated, but how much were they sending in each week to you while she was in prison?
My dad sent us £30 every week. I was proper lucky. I was really lucky.
How much of that was going on the drugs and stuff, or was it?
At first, a fair bit. And it also took us, you know what? It took us a long time to realise, and stop and think. My dad sent me money in to make sure that I'm alright. Yeah. So if I'm running out of coffee or sugar, because it'll be like, have you got a bit of this, you got a bit of that, and you think nothing of it at the time. Yeah. At first, just giving you a bit away.
Yeah.
But nothing major. It took us a long time to realise, he's worked all his life, and he's sending me this money in it to make sure that I'm alright, not so that I run out.
And you're sorting out the wing bruise and stuff.
Yeah, because I said to this last one, I said, I'm not sitting here. She was getting out a few days later. Yeah. I was like, I'm not sitting here doing without when you're out smoking a crack pipe in 3 days' time or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
You're going home free, so you're jealous of them because they're going home. And then on top of that, your sugar, your milk, your brewing equipment.
Yeah, it's not happening.
There's some selfish pricks in prison though, isn't there? You can be in the wing and stuff, and the amount of people that are just they're on their arse, they've got no support network or anything, and they've got to beg, borrow or steal to get by.
Yeah, but they'll have enough for a wrap of subby or something like that, you know what I mean? And then they can fall back on you, and it took me a while. And I'm not particularly soft like that, you know what I mean? I'm just nice. It was never done it, you know, it's just I don't want to see anyone do without, but it took us a fair amount of time to click on, it's just taking the piss, basically.
You've got to become selfish, you know what I mean? You've got to become selfish in prison.
Yeah, massively. And I did, and I have. I am a completely different person now to what I was, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's prison changes you. You've done it as a person. You learn new things about you. You don't know. people that have never lost their liberty, that have never been to prison, they can't relate to it because they've never lost their freedom. But once you lose your freedom, people, it doesn't sound like much, does it? Oh, well, you're just losing your liberty. But when you put that person in prison and see the effects it has on them, psychologically, physically and stuff, it's fucking horrific. It's hard to put into words, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant earlier. Like, people might think because you've got a PlayStation or a pair of straighteners or a hairdryer or something, that it makes it all right, but it doesn't. Because nothing makes up for your freedom, for your actual liberty, like you said, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you've got when you sat there. Like, in that room, you could have anything and everything you want in that room, but the fact is you can't leave that room. You can't pick the phone up when you want. You can't be there for your family when they need you.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do any of that stuff.
It's crazy, man, isn't it? Because like I say, when I do the vlogs and stuff, I always say, like, I've had some of the funniest laughs I've ever had in my life. I've also contemplated suicide and similar stuff, seen things that have stayed with me, even though I've been released from jail. Do you know what I mean? You can relate to that as well.
Oh, God, yeah, and I have, like, proper laugh, like, I've been hurting. I've been stood there practically pissing myself, laughing, face hurting, like, I've never laughed on the outside before. Do you know what I mean? It's been funny at times, it really has. But then, like, when the darkness kicks in. Do you know what I mean? And that's, like, nothing I've ever experienced before. It's unreal. You cannot put it into words, you're right. You cannot put it into words what it does to you.
Yeah, man. So, what courses did you get on then? You've landed at Peterborough and stuff. What did you do courses while she was in there? Like, and if so, what courses did you do?
All in all over the time, like, I've done anger management. I've done a few different drug courses that have had, like, different names. Like, it was called PASRO at one point. I don't even know what it's called now.
Yeah.
Enhanced thinking. That's called something else now. And a booster course for that. I did this course that was, like, a year long for 4 mornings a week. There was only 3 on it, called LMV, Life Minus Violence. That was, like, the biggie, that was deep. That went into so many things. It broke everything down into, like, seconds before what happened. And what you would do different. That it was proper intense. But like education wise, I'd say it's mostly education. I'm hugely educated now.
You've done like courses, haven't you? Like got qualifications and such.
Yeah, I was classed as the first woman in a high security female establishment to get a degree.
What was that degree in?
English literature and philosophy.
See, these are courses that you would have never done if you was on the out, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's brilliant. In that respect, I've got letters after my name, do you know what I mean? But the shame of it is what it counts for when you get out, because it isn't much.
Yeah, because you leave prison, even though you've got this course, this degree under your belt, you're also known as an ex-offender, which automatically means that you're not trustworthy and you shouldn't be employable and all this shit, man. But how long was that course then, that degree?
It took about 5 or 6 years.
And which was this with the Open University?
Yeah.
See, did you do the course? Because a lot of people do courses just to get out the cell and just to keep their mind occupied. Other people do it because they physically want to learn. Did you do it because you wanted to learn or just to pass the time?
No, because I wanted to learn, and as much because, like, you know how I said my dad sent us money every week, and it's always right, wasn't it? Education. But we did it, I had to do it in my own time. I still had to go to work and do what I had to do within the jail, and then do that on top. So I still had to find my own way to do it, you know, like sometimes gain on association and stuff like that, and get done what I needed to do. Or if I was lucky, like, get a teacher to let us use a computer over in education or something like that. But I've got to say we're pretty good at letting us go where, if I had another job and said I needed to do something, they would usually let us go and use a computer or do whatever I needed to do.
Yeah. So this is the thing, man. So what other courses you do apart from your degree? Just like you said, like your other, like-minded violence and things like that. Like academic qualifications. What else did you do?
I've done 3 GCSEs.
Of what subject?
In sociology, English, and what was it called? Learning for Life and Work, citizenship or something.
Yeah.
I did an AS in classical civilizations. I did all my computer stuff. I started the level 3, but then we lost the funding for that, so that got squashed. I did other things like cookery and things like that help you. I did my level 1 in hair. I did a level 2 diploma in beauty therapy and stuff. I did a diploma in animal communication.
Oh my God, fucking...
I know.
Dr. Doolittle or something talking to
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like looking at slight movements in animals and like sort of looking at the behaviour and telling if there was something up with them, but it was all like reading auras and mad stuff like that. And in the end, I just have to write them and say like I haven't got access to a pet, so I'm finding it quite hard. But I did pass on all the other stuff that I did. I'm trying to think. There was lots of different bits. Business admin, customer services.
So you made your time productive, even though during this time you're doing all the courses, were you still dabbling with the drugs and taking this and that, anything you could get your hands on?
Yeah, on and off. Towards the end I did it all on my own.
So where was your third and final prison that you served on the 14?
Open, Aston Grange.
Aston
Open
Grange.
conditions, yeah.
So what was your open like and stuff like? How would you describe an open prison to those that don't know?
Oh God, it was horrendous at first. Like my head couldn't get round it.
Because you've been institutionalised for so long
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
those conditions.
Massively. And plus because I've been by myself for so long in the board, then you automatically put in
A billet.
the first room's a 6-dorm.
Yeah.
And then you're down to like a 4 or a 3.
Yeah.
So all that time that you're by yourself, you might want to sometimes see other people, but all of a sudden you've got other people there all the time. And it was hard. It was really hard. And you just like, you can walk around till 11 at night, use the phones anytime, do whatever. And I couldn't get my head around it. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. But it's I mean, I got into quite a bit of trouble there and got a fair few chances until I sorted myself out, you know what I mean? But apart from that, like, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant chance because it got us into paid work and everything, and you do a bit of voluntary work before you can go to paid work.
So how would you describe, so to the subscribers that don't know, an open prison is like, it's open conditions and stuff. They get you in the local area, like you can volunteer and stuff like that, and then you've got to return to the prison, and they're putting trust in you.
Yeah, you do a few months where obviously you've got to prove yourself, so it's just the same as anywhere else, except you are unlocked all the time, and you've got to be in the room at a certain time, and there's trust like that. Then you build up and you get into being able to do a bit of voluntary work, so you have to break down how many days you've got left and portion it off like that. And based on however long you've got left, the work out you've got to do, like, I had to do 2/3 of it on voluntary work, and they help you find that, and you go out, so basically you're working for a charity. It has to be a charitable cause. And
Who was you working for? Who was you working for? Which charity?
St. George's Crypt in Leeds. Homeless. Homeless charity.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really did. I really, really did. It was different. It was definitely different. I worked in the kitchens there, and I worked on reception, and it's like a massive confidence builder. And then all of a sudden you reach this date where you've got to have your CV ready and start applying for paid work and hope that someone will give you the chance and take you on. So I did all that, and I did finally get taken on. I started off as a night cleaner, and then within a couple of months I got promoted to night manager. But then I did have to leave because it was night. I had 2 jobs actually, and you're pretty much allowed out as long as you're out on. You get different licenses because you're allowed to go home once a fortnight for a day, and then you're allowed to also go home once a month for overnight. So that's like 4 days, no, 5 days, 4 nights. But then you get your work license, so you can just go out as long as you spend a minimum of 24 hours in the jail, like the block 24 hours in 1 week. You can go out work related anytime. And then it leads up to you sitting your parole and getting released.
So on the day, so obviously, like you said, you've worked your way down. The open conditions are to ready you to get back to normal life, because being caged up like a bloody chicken for that amount of years. The first time you did placement in the local area must have been really surreal for you to walk. To go out of them gates and stuff and be a free person. So it was only going to be for a few hours. You was out there and you was like, because when I was on the prison sweatbox, I've only been in jail 3 times, man. But I remember when I got transferred and I was sat there, and because I've been caged up in strange ways, 22 hours a day, they put me on a sweatbox, moving me to another jail. And I sat there looking out the window, and I couldn't believe the speed of the world. Cars are flying past. Everything's at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Did you get that?
I got proper car sick. I couldn't go anywhere at first on a bus or anything, or on the prison transport, because I got really ill car sick, because it was just like, everything was whizzing by. I walked clean off, like at first you go out unescorted, so you've got like the prison officer with you in cities, so no one can tell, but you've got someone with you. And like, I'd walk along, and because I was watching her wherever I went, I've just like stepped off a curb a couple of times and nearly went down.
Where you go over on your ankle sort of thing?
Yeah, because I've not paid attention.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you can put your hand under taps and that water comes out automatically now.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to use hand dryers that you like put your hand in.
Yeah,
Not
like all
yeah.
red and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
How did the technology change as well in that time as well, Claire?
Oh, it's massive. I've never sent an email before. And I remember because I was in the establishment, I was doing some, like, there is a little charity there called Together Women. And one of my mates, I was in there, and every time I sent an email, I was shouting, I sent you an email. And she's like, you don't have to tell us, Claire. The computer tells us. Do you know what I mean?
What about mobile phones and stuff and technology as well, like?
Totally mental, because at first you're only allowed to do the little throwaways.
Yeah, little battery phones sort of thing.
Yeah. Since I was reading there, you're allowed smartphones.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed any apps, just your basic, no like social media stuff.
Yeah.
Your basic sort of messaging, calling, and I suppose Google Maps, because it makes sense. And obviously it makes sense for your applying for jobs, because you just have to go and book the 2-hour slot at the library and sit in there and try and slam as many job applications in as you can in the public libraries, and it's not easy, do you know what I mean? So they've gone on to that, and it's a bit embarrassing as well, because you're walking around and there's like people sometimes might think you're a dealer and all kinds of madness when they see you with that phone. It's happened before, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially when you're sat at Leeds, do you know, people coming up to you sweating and everything like that, and you're like, that's not right, I've got the phone, and I've been there when it's happened, you know what I mean? It's mad, but it's technology-wise, there's nothing in there though. You do have to go out and about and learn it yourself.
Yeah. So when you was released from Askham Grange, right, like, what was your emotions? Because you're obviously going to be high as a kite. When I left jail, I'd never done anywhere near as much longer stretch as you, but I literally, like, couldn't sleep the night before because I knew I was going to be up in the morning and stuff. Like, where was your head at?
Well, you know what the mad thing is, right? I sat me parole on the Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, shit, we didn't go through the parole board thing, did we? I should have touched base with the parole board, because you had to go before the parole board, so... Yeah. How do you describe that process to those that don't know?
I mean, I had to sit a parole to get to open in the first place.
Yeah. Oral
so I had to sit through, and oral hearing.
Yeah.
They used to do the paper panels, but it's gone a bit wrong, so now they don't really do it.
Yeah.
You just sit there. It wasn't so much, funny enough, it wasn't so much about the past. It get covered a bit. It was more how you deal with things now. What would you do if you were in that situation now? And they want to know how you would deal with things future-based if you want to come up against it again. Yeah. So it wasn't massively dwelling on the past. So although they do cover a bit of it and you feel negative at first, it does twist into a more positive thing where you get to see your side of, like, so... If I was in that position again, what would I do and what wouldn't I do? And that was to get to open in the first place. Yeah. And then it was pretty much the same to get out. And then the formalities of like checking your address and everything like that and figuring out somewhere for you to go. But it happened quite quick for me. It was really quite bizarre because I sat it on the Wednesday, I got the answer on the Thursday afternoon, and then I got told I was going on the Tuesday. So after all that time, it was just like, you're gone.
Must have been a shock though, like when you granted you. They've done you. The thing is as well, which is crazy, if you was a bloke, right, you would have definitely gone into a bail hostel, to prove yourself for a few months. But you you got approved premises for your mums, didn't you?
To my partners.
Oh, your partners, sorry. Your partners,
It's because I'm at my mum's now, Yeah. It was my partners,
And your partner is actually a lady that you met in prison?
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
This is the thing where things come back around full circle, because if you would have never gone to prison the first time, and like I said, you won't be shot on your worst enemy, you would have never met your soulmate, which you've met whilst in prison.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy, but when you was released that day and stuff, like your night before, did you sleep? Was you all over the place?
No.
Was you excited?
Well, I had to, on the Thursday before that, when I got the answer, because I'd been to work in the morning.
Yeah.
But I was
Because you
work
had a few days notice you was going home, didn't you?
Yes, but not many. It was just literally like, and then when I was going out to work on the night, because you can use your phone now, when you've got it out and about, you can ring anyone that's on your pin.
Yeah.
So you know your list of approved people.
Yeah.
So I'd rang and said, basically, like, what you're doing on Tuesday, and she thought I'd just put in for like a release on temporary license. I'm at work, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, so you're not coming to pick us up? Oh, well, I can't. I was like, but I'm coming home. And no one could believe it. And I couldn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but like, the rest of it went normal because it didn't sink in. And I did actually sleep the night before because it wasn't there in
I don't
my head.
think it had sunk in. It sounds like it had
Nah, it didn't. It really didn't. It wasn't until the next morning when I was going and it was like, I'm not coming back here.
So did the screws come and get you? Because I've never been in an open prison, so did the screws come and get you, tell you to pack your
No,
bag?
you just take yourself there. I got told, it said, pack your stuff up and you don't let me know what you're taking. Obviously the write down and everything, but still make sure it's all yours.
Your prop cards and stuff.
Your prop cards, yeah. Still make sure it's all yours. And then
what did you leave anything to like the other girls and stuff, like if you had any like canteen items and stuff? If so, what were the stuff and what did you leave for them?
Toiletries, food, clothes, even bras, stuff like that. So
yeah, because this is the thing, it's like when I was leaving and stuff, like I literally had a shitload of food under my bed, I had all my stuff in my pad, and because I'm going home and stuff, and I know that I'm going having steak and stuff, because I'm leaving jail and stuff, I'm going to eat like a king, everything I had, I separated and said to the cleaners, right, because I was a cleaner, I said to the boys, take what you want and stuff, but because when I was leaving and stuff, I was, as mad as it sounds, right, I was emotional, because I was like absolutely over the moon to be going home, but I was also felt guilty for the lads I was leaving behind, because it was like my family, so we're hugging each other and stuff, and it was emotional, you know, it was crazy. They give you £46?
No, because the thing with being an open is I had a wage.
Oh, so so they're not going to stop you up, are they?
I didn't actually have any money in there because you've got your own bank account. They take 40%. Yeah. But it goes to them first, and then they release it to your bank after they took the 40%. So they take their
40% and then give you your 50%. So how much did you leave jail with them, wage-wise and stuff, like from what you'd earned?
Oh, God, I'm trying to think.
Couple of £100?
More than that. I had been just under, I can't remember. It may as well have been a good £600 or £700, yeah.
So who came and collected you then from the jail? Your dad?
Because I had a bit of saving, because at one point I had 2 jobs. Oh, it went wrong when it come to that. Someone's going to drive down to Gerrard. Yeah. But his alarm didn't go off. So it was actually a friend of a friend that come to pick us up. Yeah. And then I was just sat there for the rest, because everyone was at work, because they're going about their daily lives, because they can't just stop. Yeah. Because it happened so quick as well, no one could like really say, oh, it's on such and such a day, so I'm making sure I've got that time off. Yeah. It was just literally like the weekend out in, and I got there, and it's overwhelming and underwhelming all at the same time. It's mental. Yeah. So what was the first? You obviously went to probation first. Yeah. And that wasn't for long. I just potted along there for about half an hour in the afternoon, and then just went home and that was it. What was the first thing you did when you got back? What was the first thing you did? Shower, like get your hair washed? What was it like? Some people do different things. I went to probation, then I hit a cafe up with my ma, got a full English breakfast, and my stomach had shrunk because I've been in jail. Yeah. You get that? Yeah, proper. And then you can't keep anything in properly now. That way your body gets used to all the different foods that you're eating. So you've got to be proper wary of what you're eating. Well, my belly was like that anyway. Run through as well, do you know what I mean? You get the run. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was trying to be like a girl and be polite and say like my sort of belly could not cope with it all. Yeah. I went home because there was no one in, obviously, because she was at work. I got myself showered and got ready, and then that was it. It was just like had some friends around and had some drinks and stuff. So was you still, so did you kick the addiction on that last stretch, or was the addiction follow you out the gate? It was. It's still there. It's still there a bit. It's a fight that I think I'll always have. Yeah. But on the whole, I'd say it was only last year. Did you because you only left prison last year, didn't you? So what date did you walk out of Aston Grange? The 20-something of June, 22nd.
22nd of
June. I might be in the 26th, yeah.
And you walked out of that. Have you kept in contact with any of the girls that you was locked up with?
Yeah, yeah. There is a
Sometimes
few.
you lose contact, don't you? But you stayed in contact with them and stuff.
I have lost contact with a few, but I wouldn't even particularly, they're just people you come across, you know what I mean? But anyone that meant something, I have kept in contact with.
And you
Definitely.
met your literally like soulmate in jail, which is, things, it's crazy how things work out and stuff. But so when you go to probation and stuff, they don't drug test you or anything like that. They don't.
No, they haven't done.
Don't piss test you or anything like that.
It is part of my license that if that's what they want, then yeah. But obviously, I'm not bound to, like, I go there, I work, I do everything that I can, and they're not getting that chance to take it away from us.
I don't think you put yourself back in that position, to be honest.
Nah.
You're off the drugs now, aren't you? Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're off everything. You've got your family, you've got your boy, you've got your mum and dad, and you're in a good place. So what are you doing work-wise now? Because we discussed it obviously last night, but for the subscribers.
I'm just working in a shop, retail assistant.
Yeah, man, like it's like a B&M sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I say, and you're working part-time doing that, so you're now a productive member of society, you've broken the cycle of offending, you're paying tax back into the system, and you're open. I know last night you said, like, you're looking to do possibly volunteering, speaking to like criminology students and stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to. There's so many other like aspects, obviously, of everything that happened with addiction, domestic violence, all sorts. You know what I mean? And if I could help with any of that or make a difference in any way, then I would just absolutely love to, because it doesn't need to end up like how it ended up for me or for so many of us out there. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone's bad. I mean, that's one of the things, the whole employment thing. You sit there and you disclose and you disclose and you disclose and you just knock back, and you see that look in their eye, and you've just got to keep going. But not everyone's got it in them to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that, and do you know what I mean? I can relate to it. And not everyone's got all the family support that I've got either.
How would you describe, like, because obviously you're classed as an ex-offender, but to these like small-minded people, you are actually, even though you didn't put the knife, did anything reference a knife, you're actually classed as a convicted murderer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Has that had implications when it's come to applying for jobs where, like, some people are honest about disclosures and then they don't get the job or they don't even get in for an interview? Other people have to. They don't put the declaration about the criminality and stuff. Like, have you found struggles and stuff like reference your offending?
Yeah, totally. I've been sat there and you can see the look on the face. I've been told point blank, no, a lot of the time it's, we'll have to go to head office or area manager or this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you can see it there straight away. Judge, game over. No, I'm going to give you a chance.
This is the thing though, right? Everyone deserves a second chance, right? Because, like I say, this is the thing though, if they do a DBS check on you, for those that don't know, DBS is a disclosed barring service, right? Reference like offending and stuff like that, like criminality and stuff, criminal convictions. Now, because they'll just see convicted murderer, right? But they don't see the circumstances, the fact that you actually, even though you were sentenced like you stabbed this guy yourself, which you didn't, and this is the thing, but they just see that. They're very narrow-minded. And like I say, it must put a cloud over you because you're trying to better yourself every day.
Yeah.
And then people are trying to hold you back to the person you was 14 years ago.
Yeah, it does massively because I don't even relate to that person anymore. I get it to a certain extent, of course I do, but like I can't help but think that was a massive difference because I that day, I did have a knife as well. I chose not to use it.
Yeah. But was that for your own personal protection, though?
Yeah, because of the whole drug thing, the whole everything, and it's stupid silly thing to do, do you know what I mean? It's embarrassing now to look back at, but that's the way it was, yeah? But I still chose not to use it, and I can't help but think there's a difference between the person that was stood there with us that chose to use it, whereas I didn't. Do you know what I mean? And I will... Until my dying day, I'm not saying I wouldn't take responsibilities, but I'm not a murderer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't take that, you know, I wouldn't do that, and I didn't do that. That was a choice I made that day. But it is what it is. But so at the same time, like, regardless of all that, the way it is, this series and the way it stands, I've been released and I'm allowed that second chance. So why not be given it? But it's not seen like that with a lot of places, employment and everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. None of that counts for anything.
How did prison
you did what you did.
Oh, shut up, go on.
How did prison change us?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How did prison change you from the woman you was? You've been in prison 3 times, like I say, 2 short sentences, and then a whopper, right? A life sentence, right?
Yeah.
So how did prison change you from the person you was? You might not have seen it changing yourself, but like, how did it change you? Like, what did friends and family pick up about the way it's changed you as a person, personality-wise, behaviourally-wise, the way you think, the way you project yourself, etc., etc.?
I got self-confidence and self-esteem.
That's what you gained from prison?
Yeah.
That's mad, that is, because it can...
Of all the negatives, it has. It took everything from us in so many ways. But I can't think of anything else other than to say that because of it all, I've had to start to realise, like, I only had myself to rely on. And when you sit and think, and you stuck with your own head behind the door, then I realised I'm not actually that bad. Do you know what I mean? So, like, you've got to live with yourself at the end of the day, and if you can't live with yourself, you're going to give yourself a hard time till the end of it. You just make it a struggle. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of learned that, you know what, I'm all right, and I'm not that bad, and the qualities that I like in other people, I've got a lot of them. So in many ways, all the things it strips from you, if you can just hold on and find that one little thing that you like about yourself and try and grow from it. Because before that, I really didn't like myself. At least now I know I'm strong and I can survive and get by. And I kind of, you know, it's mad. I can't explain because it does. I've never been more depressed or fed up in my life. But I've come out and I am a stronger and better person for it. So it's given us that. Unless I'll give myself that, and it's not because of it. I don't know. Because I don't know this day or not whether jail is the right thing. I still haven't figured that out.
It sounds like whilst you was in prison, you sort of lost yourself, like found yourself, and then reinvented yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. That is it. That's exactly it. And you've just got to keep going. You've got to keep going, no matter what.
Yeah, this is the thing, man. So, what advice would you give to a female? Obviously, we've got male offenders, but what advice would you give to a female, regardless of her age, that's involved in criminality, that may end up going to prison? Like, what advice would you give them? Reference going to prison or just being involved in the criminality, like, because you've been there and done it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not the way forward, and pretty much you're worth more. Because I think a lot of it stems from not thinking you're worth a great deal of yourself. And 9 times out of 10, the women that I've met in there, it's a case of because they've not had that self-esteem or that self-love, and they've not appreciated and they've not valued themselves as a person, and they've got involved in something one way or another. And you don't need to be, and you don't need to be doing this, that and the other, or hurting other people or anything like that to validate yourself. You've just got to be just you, just love you, appreciate you, because I think that's what brings most of the women I've met, that's what's bringing them down.
So if one of these girls was like, end up like potentially, I don't know, say they've got a trial coming up in 2 months' time, what advice would you give them, like, if they're going to be sent down, like, say that they're definitely going to jail, but...
Oh, on the practical side of things. Yeah,
like the do's and don'ts, what's the
right, literally as well, from day court, right, you've got to pack your stuff, take a few clothes, anything else, you're not going to be allowed. So you've got to think about your clothes, your underwear and things to it, and I'd say that's it on that side of it. From getting in there, you get yourself on as many courses as possible, you get yourself a job straight away, you keep yourself to yourself, which is easier said than done, you know what I mean? Like, you say no evil, speak no evil, all that carry on, and just as much education as you can get. That's it. You get yourself out from behind your door, you know what I mean? Try and gather a few close to you, because there is some good girls in there, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You don't need to be part of mix-up and everything like that. Do you know what I mean? Just try and stay under the radar. Yeah, stay away from all that. No, you don't borrow anything to be paying anything back. It double bubbles and all this, that and the other. Do you know what I mean? Just, you do what you need to do. Your canteen's yours, you get on with it, just manage on your own and do whatever. You don't owe anybody anything. Don't be getting involved in mix-up. don't be borrowing, all that, the same stuff, I'd say that way is the same as with a lad's jail, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
all the things that can get you into trouble,
definitely.
all them things that can get you into trouble are the same as what will get you into trouble anywhere. Yeah. Definitely.
So what are your hopes and dreams for the future then, Claire? And then I'm going to move on to the subscriber questions after this question.
Oh, God, there's more. Right,
what are your hopes and dreams for the future? Go on.
They're not massive, you know. I just want to be out and I want to get on with it. I would like to be able to help other people in that as well, but I just want to be working. I want to get my flat sorted out, which is nearly there. My dream, but I don't know if it'll happen. I'm going to try. I'd like to go on holiday because I've never been on a plane and been abroad. I would like to try and do that, but I don't know if that's even possible, but I'm going to try my best. I just want to do and make the most of everything. I know it sounds like dead cheesy and stuff like that, but I mean just like, I want to go to music festivals. I've never done that. I've never really seen live music and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I love that. And just, possibly have a little bit of a holiday and just be like a normal, I say normal, that's perhaps the wrong thing to say, but just like everyone else. Does that make sense? They're not massive.
Yeah. The mad thing is that you're talking now, you sound like a teenager, but you spent so long I mean that in like going, see, I'm 35, I've never been to a music concert or anything like that, festival, stuff like that, but your dreams are like, small to you, they're big to you, but they might be small to somebody else, but it's you sound like you're catching up on all them years you've lost, you know what I mean?
I think I am. But they do say, don't they? Have you not heard that they feel that you stay, in many ways you stay the age you are?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
I probably believe that. I do probably believe that because I can be dead mature in some ways, but in other ways I'm not. I'm still a 26-year-old.
Yeah, because you was obviously 26 when you went to jail.
Yeah. And I do still get fascinated by the silliest of little things. And then in other ways I'm a bit more, like I'm a bit older and wiser, I'm probably a bit more bitter and stuff like that. But then in other ways, I'm not. I'm totally like, go back to being that kid again. It's mad.
You sound like you've come a long way. You see things differently now. It's like you was born again or something. Do you know what I mean? Like the way you see things, the way you project yourself and stuff like that.
I am totally. It's got to be done. I couldn't ever go back there. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. You said yourself. You know what I mean? It's not the thing to do. And for example, I don't want to be out here and people getting hurt or lives getting lost and everything anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's just why. It's totally unnecessary. It wasn't my place to be part of anything of being judge, jury and executioner anyway. It's just sometimes things happen and you don't know how to deal in that situation.
You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, 10 minutes either side, right, or on a different train or a train cancellation. Anything, just one little moment, a second moment change in that situation, and things could have been so different.
It would have been completely different for everyone.
Do you ever get any flashbacks to what went on that day and stuff? Because I know that's something that's... In what way? Like, whilst you was in prison, even now, or...
Not so much now. It's quite dark, really. I used to see people from a distance and think they were him.
Yeah.
The nightmares they used to have were terrible.
About the actual incident itself?
But mixed in a funny dream-like quality that, like, always at least have the area in. A lot of the time it was where I couldn't get to the bed and there'd be something in between. And you talk and waking up sweating, like I woke up screaming, and it sounds like something off the telly, but it's not. It's like, that went on for years. It was even until the last few years in my sentence. It was only when I got like sort of on a resettlement wing before I went to open that things started calming down for it. Like just tortured for years. Double time you're doing, aren't you, when you're awake on the night all night as well. I keep waking up because I'm having bad dreams and everything. Just horrific. Pure anxiety, pure based on things that had happened. And like I said, I've had different like treatments and that I meant to help with it, but at first I was seeing people that looked like them. Obviously, when you go and you do a first aid thing, I don't know if lads do, but you watch like a suicide DVD and stuff, and you do a first aid on one of them little Annie dolls.
Yeah.
I couldn't go near it.
Dolls,
it freaked us out. I couldn't go near it. It looked like a body. I couldn't. It was just weird. Just honest, mental, absolutely mental. And then you start to come out of it and that. But they did say that I had PTSD. So I did have some treatment for that.
Yeah. Did your other experiences on the wing and stuff? I know you said you'd self-harmed and stuff like that. But like the other experiences, seeing other people go through stuff and the screams and like you say, like the girl that was like sticking like the hair straighteners up herself. You must have heard these things and seen these things.
Yeah.
That must have affected your mental health as well, like reference to PTSD.
Yeah, definitely.
What stayed with you? Is there a certain moment that stayed with you from what you've experienced whilst in prison or you've seen or?
It was that time, and it was actually in like relation to that girl. It's more a smell thing. Because of the things she did, and she sort of used to smear things on a wall, like feces and everything all over the place and that. Stuff, yeah. And you know when we were talking about the Lenore bottle?
Yeah.
When you spray it around. I can't smell that anymore because that sprayed around mingled in with that smell brings us back to then. Because everyone used to spray it to try and obviously get rid of the smell of all the crap that was smearing all over the walls and stuff like that. And they were trying to get rid of it and it didn't work, it mingled in, it didn't take it away.
It lets off a more pungent smell, you know?
Yeah, it's worse. Oh, it's awful. And even to this day, I can't bear it. Any other colour fabric conditioner I'm fine with. But that yellow one that we always used to get, I can't abide it, I can't go near it. Because it just all comes back.
I used to buy the yellow one canteen and then put it in a spray bottle, fill it with water, spray it around the pad and stuff to make the pad smell nice, you know what I mean? That takes you back. What other things have you got that remind you of prison? Like, is it like a certain noise or like when you go out? What's that?
Cheese and onion crisps.
What, like walkers or just like cheap, like
them cheap nasty ones we used to get KP, but then we changed to Seabooks, but there's still cheese and onion. And then Lotus biscuits.
Oh yeah, Lotus biscuits. Yeah. You like little like.
Yeah, I love them. Them and penguins. I used to love them, but now they're not as ill.
Is there any when you first got out and stuff like sleeping and stuff? Like, I don't know if this is the same for you. You served a lot longer than me, but I used to get these. Like, I thought like when I was in prison. Like, I don't know why. I used to wake up thinking I was at home, and when I was released, I was at home. And I used to dream and wake up thinking I was in prison. It's the weirdest thing.
I still do it now. Yeah, I still do it now. I wake up in the morning and it's just like a proper flat feeling like,
I've got to go to the work.
No, you do. I still like, even now sometimes, wait for that bit of instruction to do something. If I don't click on it, it's dinner time.
Yeah.
You know, like, because you get told when you're going to eat. I still wake up in the morning, I'll be like, and then I'll realise, I'll get in the back of my head as well, and this is because of how I used to be. If I've done something I shouldn't have done, am I going to, like if I'm going to get collared for something today, and then I'll wake up properly, or I'll realise, like, well, you haven't, because I'm out here and I'm alright, and I'm doing everything I should. It's just like, it's proper bizarre. It can be quite surreal sometimes.
Yeah, it's magic. What are the terms of your licence as well?
Pretty much only to tell them if I'm going anywhere else or staying anywhere else for the night.
So they're not that strict and you're still going to...
No.
Because you're on life licence, you're still under probation and stuff and you go to probation like once a week.
Yeah.
I know that died off for a bit,
but I am,
once a month, but you can go yourself.
Yeah, I had to get... Because obviously I've moved quite a distance, so I'm just checking in the new ones now. We're just getting to know us a bit.
Is it horrible having that cloud over you that they could recall you any minute?
Yeah.
It must be hard to live with.
Yes, it is. Because it's just every now and then, I'll just go about and do it, and then it'll come crashing down, and I'm like, have I done something wrong? I can't explain it, but I just get panicky that they're going to take it all away, or this is too good to be true, or, you know, it's like today when I went, I just had this for no reason, had this feeling of doom that there was just some reason that I was going to get into trouble or I've done something I shouldn't, and it's not even justified because there isn't anything, and obviously I'm now talking to you, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But and having to just sometimes arrange life around it and obviously tell them everywhere I'm going if I'm not in the house on the night time in case they decide to knock on the door. And in that respect, I suppose it's a minor compared to everything else. But it's still it's always going to be there. It's never going to die off, ever.
Yeah, it's always in the back of your mind and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But like I said, what were the positives you took from prison and what were the negatives? Like, what did you learn from prison in a sense about yourself or about life or... What do you think, or something like that?
About myself.
Yeah. Like you said before, you're stronger than you thought you were.
I was going to say I can keep going, like, I'm proper resilient. It doesn't matter what, like, anything else. I don't mind myself that much. I'm quite, like, I'm an alright person, like, I chat on everyone and I get along with most people and everything like that, and sort of before that, because the, like, things I haven't chatted about, the relationship I was in and stuff, and I wasn't allowed to speak to anyone, and now, like, I bounce around and I do my own thing, and I don't feel like I'm going to get, like, any kind of hassle for it when I go home, because I like chatting to people and just sort of, that's what I'm saying, like, I've got a load of confidence and I quite like that. Yeah. Negative-wise, I don't think that it'll ever totally lift. I don't think I'll ever have a day where at some point I don't think, like, you have to proper fight, like, this is it, this is it, like, do you know what I mean? I've never, my life isn't mine, it never will be in that respect, but I've got a proper fight against that. But on my worst days, it is, my life isn't my own and it never ever will be again, regardless of, like, if I'm walking around and everything like that, that's it. You know, slightest foot wrong, I can't go abroad, I can't do this, that and the other. And they are, like, that may sound really selfish because, like, obviously what I was in jail for, and I know somebody died and everything like that, but, and they can't, and I don't mean it in that way, but it's still something that will hit me in the face every day. Yeah. I'm not like everyone else. Sometimes I'll be out in a shopping centre or around people and that, and I'll think, I'm not like all yous. Should I even be here now?
Yeah, like you don't deserve to be there or something.
Yeah, a lot of the time I do. Anyone that I think's in it, even, I suppose it might still be a self-esteem thing as much as I say I've got a load more now, but anyone that I think's like maybe in a slight position of authority or a bit like at work or in any other place, I will bow down to them that bit more because I suppose I still don't feel 100% worthy of, you know what I mean, and it's hard deciding who to be truthful with, who not to, because I don't like feeling like a liar.
And people but you don't want to be judged at the same time, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It's completely everything, and because of that, everything is a judgment call, like how far do you go, what do you say, what don't you say, am I allowed to do this, am I allowed to do that, am I allowed to even say this? Yeah. And it's mad, it really is.
Do you know what? And the thing is as well, you deserve respect as well, because kicking an addiction to, like I say, the heroin and other drugs, right? But heroin, at a time, before Spice came along, did you ever dabble with Spice?
No.
But the thing is, heroin was, at a time, because it's an opiate-based drug, it was one of the most addictive substances known to man. And you have to rid yourself of a long-term addiction. And come out the other end, you've left prison, you've reinvented yourself, you've got all these qualifications, you've got your son, you've got your mum, you've got your dad, and you've got a lot to live for, and you've met, whilst in prison, in the worst circumstances, you've met your missus, who is the best thing that's ever happened to you, and you're like little soulmates and stuff, and like you said, it's a one-off and stuff, but this is the thing, there's positives and negatives, but
there is, of course.
But the thing is, you've learned, it would have been very easy, if you didn't have that support network, right, it's scary to think where you would be now. You could be feet under, do you know what I mean?
I think I would have been.
Exactly, this is the thing, even your mum, I think we spoke earlier and you said that my mum was like, I'm sort of happy in a way because it saved you in many regards.
Yeah, that's exactly what she thinks. She believes it happened for the simple reason to like sort of save me. She said I'd been found in a gutter somewhere, either OD'd on drugs or back at the death of some bloke I was with. It's as simple as that. She doesn't see any other way to it.
Yeah, it's
that is it in her head. Yeah.
Right, listen, let's get on. Come on the phone. 2 hours and 3 minutes, right? So I know, man. And like I say, the subscribers are going to love it. But what I'll do is I'm just going to knock this light on, and then I'll just ask you these. I think there's about 12 questions. We'll fly through these, and we'll drop the call. So Taxi I 2011. He asked, "Do you regret your actions that day?"
Yeah, completely.
In what sense?
It shouldn't have ever happened, regardless of what anybody else has done.
Yeah.
It wasn't my place or anybody else's to be part of deciding how that was dealt with. Do you know what I mean? He's been dealt with by because it's not just about him. There was, like, as I learned over the years, there was all the other people, the witnesses, people that seen it. It happened at the train station, in a public place, in rush hour traffic. with people of all different ages there.
There could have been children there and stuff like that that saw it.
Yeah, they didn't need to. It wasn't right. It should never ever happened. And of course I do, because at the end of the day it was still somebody's son, somebody's brother. All serious stuff, and I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, because I've had plenty of time to think about it. You know what I mean?
Inside,
yeah, of course, and it's true. It's absolutely true. So there isn't a day that'll ever go by where I can and do get on with my life and what I'm doing and everything like that. But there's by no means will I ever.
It's always in the back of your mind, sort of thing.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. It's horrific.
Right, so Lee Walker says here, Lee Walker asks, what are your thoughts on prison officers? So obviously good, bad and indifferent sort of thing.
Yeah, they literally are good, bad and indifferent. I believe there's plenty going to it, feeling it's a vocation.
Yeah.
And they are there to try and help and do better. I do believe a lot of them become disillusioned and that along the way. And that's the mixture of the people they're dealing with inmate-wise and other staff. I can't lie and say that I think that they're all bastards who are all out to get you and everything like that, because I was like, it might be different for lads, I don't know, but there was like a lot of support there, and because I did the bulk of my sentence in one place as well, it's just like anything I was familiar, I was just like an old set age, you know what I mean? And
you can become friendly with the officers. I mean, some cons cons, they're like, it's us versus them, as in prisoners versus prison officers. Now, if an officer was a power-mad dickhead, I couldn't stand him and I'd avoid him at all costs. But if it was someone that was spot on, I'd go out of the way to speak to him. Do you know what I mean? If they're there to do a job, and do you know what I mean? There's good, bad in both society, whether it's a criminal or whether it's in prison. Yeah,
well, that's how I see it as well. And at the end of the day, if it's going to help you make your life a bit easier as well, then why not? If they are there to do a job, you don't need to tell them more than what they need to know. It's as simple as that, but you've got to get by your day, so why not just get by your day? But I have had, times when I have needed that bit of support and stuff like that, you know what I mean? We all do. Well, I certainly did at some point. And even if it's a case of it's the right one to stick in that thing for a bit of emergency credit or something like that. Why make it difficult for yourself? Yeah, of course it does. I think it does for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Like I said, you don't need to know anything other than what you need, and you can pass the time of day. There's no harm in that. Right. I don't think there is anyway.
No, not at all. That before the storm asks, what were your childhood and your childhood experiences like? Now, you don't have to go into this if you don't want to, but like you said, you didn't have a bad childhood from what you said yesterday.
No, I didn't. I didn't really at all. Not compared to some. To an extent, I mean, there was sort of alcohol involved and affairs and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So with my parents, but yeah, exactly. It wasn't like I haven't had anything traumatic or any kind of abuse in any way or anything like that. It was pretty much, I've got a loving family, they love me, I love them so much, I really do.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely a massive part of your life. And like I say, before, during and after, that before the storm asks again, did you have any children before being incarcerated?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I've got a son and a... Right.
We'll move on from that.
All right,
you've got kids, right? So the Celtic Warrior asks, what was your worst moment inside?
Definitely when they turned the light ring into the DSPD unit as well.
So you put, like you said, severe mentally ill people with severe mental health issues and bipolar and personality disorders in lifers. I can imagine it was like a clash. It must have been unpredictable for prisoners and
massively. Yeah, massively volatile mix. I mean, a lot of staff actually left and went to work. We were promised support. They were and we were. It never happened. It was like an experiment. Like we were guinea pigs. Top and bottom. It was horrific. And some of the things I've seen are just unreal. That shouldn't have happened. We're two separate types of people in needs. We've got separate needs. Do you know what I mean?
Prisoners separate, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next question is again. So Dart before the storm again asks, what did you miss most apart from your freedom? What did you miss most whilst in prison?
My son. Definitely.
Your lad is he's seen you grow up whilst obviously from being a prisoner's son, so to speak, whilst he was inside.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
you've
that,
had to see him grow up, and he's had to see you like grow old as you're in prison,
yeah,
and you've had to see him grow
yeah,
up on visits. You know what I mean? It
yeah.
must be horrific.
It is, and it wasn't so much for me. Like, I wouldn't want to, but I could do that every day if I had to.
Yeah.
It's more what it's done to them out here than it is me.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Dark before the storm again. He asks, well, it might be a she. What difficulties did you find after being released? So whether it be housing, like jobs, like friendships, things like that, sort of like struggles after leaving prison.
Again, like, because of my family and everything like that, I have been lucky with all them things.
Yeah.
It's been more the snapping out of the institutionalised ways, the regime of everything, I've been guessing myself all the time about what I am supposed to do and not supposed to do, and like, should I be here, should I not be here, even if it's just like leaving the house or perhaps not getting up and feeding myself when them's the main things, just the structure of how it was in there. Everything else,
like regime and stuff, and it was so like you had a regime. You told when to go to work. You told when to read. You know what I mean? And then you kicked out, and it's like, hang on, like hold on,
yeah, exactly. Having to learn to pay bills and set direct debits up and learn about technology and stuff like that. That's been the main things.
Yeah, but you landed on your feet, like you having your support network there from your family.
Yeah. That's definitely.
I think that's a massive part of you becoming rehabilitated, so to speak.
Yes, it is.
You know it is. So, Mr. Golden V asks, "What do you consider do you consider yourself institutionalized?"
In a way, yeah.
And how would you describe that to him? Like.
Ooh.
So that's that, I think.
It is a really hard question. Again, it's the lack of structure. Because it isn't out here. But at the same time, I can't get up and be self-sufficient and do everything. It's just, there's something, it's always questioning yourself of if it's the
like second-guessing yourself.
Yeah, completely, all the time. It's not there anymore. Obviously, I had me bit of time and open to help you get used to that. But it's still not quite the same, because that's still structured.
Yeah. JN asks, did you ever get attacked in prison?
No.
Right, no, but you obviously, and then you've already alluded to where you've had to like fight because you've got on someone or whatever.
Yeah,
So so we've answered that question. So MCJR McKee, I think this is Junior McKee, he's a subscriber of mine, asked, did you see any contraband whilst in prison?
Oh my God, it's everywhere. Yes, loads.
Loads of it.
Loads of it. Any amount of it. Yeah.
Right.
Everything.
Junior Mackay asked again, what coping mechanisms did you use in prison? So, like, whether it be drugs or, like, self-harm and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, in the past I've used both of them, definitely. I have self-harmed. I have used drugs for a massive part of my sentence.
And that was just to, like, secure the boredom, to take you, just to get the high, to get out of that prison, even though you're still there. Just get high, get away from the get away
anything
from the
to forget. Yeah, anything to forget what I'd been involved in, what my life had led to, where I was, everything like that. Completely. Obviously, when I was with all them people with the mental health problems, because that's how they dealt with things, I think that was a massive part of how I thought it might work, with how to deal with things as well, because I would have never thought of that before, because I'd never done it. So there was all that stuff as well. And then there is other little things where I've got to see certain courses I was on kick in, and they do start to help you. Like, I learned I need a bit of time for myself to process things and that, and I learned how to go behind the door on a night, and I did, like I said earlier, sort of, I wouldn't think about good things, and I wouldn't think, because they lead to guilt and stuff like that, and then feeling down, and I wouldn't think of bad things, so I'd block that, and just totally, and it does take some practice, concentrate on whatever book I was reading, or if I was drawing, or if I was watching the telly, just thought blocking.
It's about keeping your mind occupied and keeping your mind off
total distraction. Yeah.
MC Junior Mackay again asked, what's a women's prison like? Obviously we've covered it, but if you just want to touch base with it again.
I think it sounds like, from what I've heard, completely different to men's.
Yeah. Sounds quite bitchy.
It's very bitchy.
Well, prison
very bitchy.
As well, but go on.
I've got that. I was talking, but that's different. I was talking about someone at a workplace, a purely male workplace today. And I thought, you can be as bad. It is bitchy more than anything. It really is. But I don't know if that's just people or not. They used to say it was a lot, oh, it's like you're in a goldfish bowl. And I'd be like, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
Just to be off for the sake of it, you know what I mean? But it isn't, it's not like what you see on the telly. It's not horrific.
Is it as violent? Would you say it's as violent as like you see in the media or male prisons or whatever?
Nah, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is.
A lot of like sniping, bitching, backstabbing, and stuff, but then like physical altercations, it's nowhere near as bad as like the male.
No, definitely not. Definitely not at all. Not compared to things I've seen and read about.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Right, do you know what? Listen, Claire, we're gonna thank you for your time. I'm gonna leave it there. And then I know the subscribers are gonna comment in the droves and stuff, so put your comments in the comment section below, guys. Extremely grateful for Claire. Like, comment and subscribe. I'll ring you back now, Claire, as well.
Yes, no bother.
Bye.
Bye.